Well, hi all, welcome to Old Classic Car. Today it is day one of the huge 3-day NEC Classic Motor Show 2025 edition. This is a vast event and I apologise in advance if this turns out to be quite a long video, because I'm pretty sure it will do. Classic cars, vintage cars, retro cars, American cars, a sprinkling of commercial vehicles too, so a little bit of everything at this one, and including a whole pile of really cool looking military vehicles just over the way there. So yep, there's a lot to pack into this one, so without further ado, let's have a bit of a mooch around, see what we can see, and don't forget to let me know in the comments which are your favourite vehicles featured here today. Maybe it will be this phenomenal green straight 8 Buick just over my shoulder here, or perhaps the Austin 10-4. There's a real variety of cars at this particular event. Right, let's go and find somewhere to start. Certainly one of the tallest vehicles here today is this incredible late 1940s, about 1947, Leyland Titan double-decker bus. What a beauty this is. Like I say, all sorts at this particular event. The NEC Classic Motor Show is, well, it must be the biggest classic car show here in the UK. I'll try and feature as much as I can in this particular one. Apologies if I miss out your favourite car. I'll try and show a bit of everything. The focus, as always with the old classic car videos, is mainly the older vehicles, because there are some later sort of modern classics here as well, so I'll try and feature a bit of everything. But if I featured every car in depth, this video would probably be about 7 hours long, and no one's going to watch that. Yeah, what a belter this lovely old Leyland Titan is. The effort that goes into restoring these big PSVs or public service vehicles it's off the scale, to be honest. The period sign writing, the body, all in beautiful condition. Nothing that shouldn't be here. The emergency door on the back. Lovely cast aluminium handles as well. There's the destination board, Nottingham. The emergency exit all the way up there. So yeah, you'd have to get off in a hurry if you were going to use that one. You'd really need to get out. What a wonderful. Look at these these lovely aluminium mouldings down the side. None of this was needed, none of it was necessary, but the stylists really went to town to create the best looking vehicle they could in this incredible Leyland. Well, they don't get much better looking than that. Dual side entrance doors on these as well. There we go, Leyland Titan PD1 JRR 404, built 47, entered service 1st of June 1948. Duple, low bridge, double deck, front entrance body. There we go, there's all the details. Don't forget you can always pause the video if you want to have a bit of longer read about the history of this wonderful double decker. Right, all sorts of things here. A little ice cream delivery vehicle here, pedal power, so we've got a bit of pedal power action as well as internal combustion engine powered machines. What a little belter this is. I know someone who would approve of this. That's right. We've got a little Caterpillar crawler here, circa 1929. Wow. Tracked vehicles as well. Something for everybody. Look at that beautiful cast header tank there. I like that. That really is nice. Period implement attached to the rear of it. What a great thing. So late 1920s. Big oil pressure gauge. That's the one that you keep your eye on. That's the only gauge you can keep your eye on. How cool is that? And talking of cool things, well, electric vehicles are all the rage nowadays, or at least so we're being told. And look at this beauty here. Wow. Many years ago, a friend and I rescued an old milk float, an electric milk float. It's a little bit later than this one. This a Morrison electric car in the livery of the Cooperative Society, the Co-op of course, ROA 127. What a cracking little thing that is. Forward control. Even I remember every morning you could hear electric milk float going up and down the road. There were two. One was a Co-op, the other was Heald's Dairy, which was not too far from where I grew up, and you could hear the milk bottles rattling away in the back. There we go. 77 volt battery, 6.8 kilowatt motor. Wow. New in 1954. Wow. While we're on the subject of commercial vehicles, we have, well, what's this? A Foden, I suspect, yeah, the Foden Society member. This one, I think we've seen this one possibly at Gaydon at the big commercial vehicle show, who knows. This is a Foden S36 there. It is in service during restoration. And there, the finished article. Again, just like that double-decker bus. Beautifully turned out, wonderful old sign writing. Yeah. RHA, the Road Haulage Association sticker there in the window. Proper sign writing. Beautifully done. No stick-on vinyl lettering here. In 1921, 2.25 horsepower DOT lightweight. Now, DOT, they're perhaps best remembered for their trials bikes, their off-road scrambler motorbikes. DOT, devoid of trouble. That's what that stood for. This is a magnificent machine, a flat tanker, hand gear change. Beautiful nickel-plated fittings. Even the carburettor nickel-plated. Just wonderful. Little tool satchel there, little tool bag on the back. Spare chain, a leather chain. This one's got a belt fitted to it at the moment. Yeah, JAP engine. What a wonderful thing. So the speedo drive taken directly off the front wheel there. A fine hooter. What a beauty that is. Oh, there we go. Devoid of trouble. Following success in races in 1908. Albion 2-speed gearbox, final belt drive. There is the belt drive just there. You can see the belt off to the back wheel. What a cracker that is. Right, what else have we got on this particular stand? Well, let's amble over here in the direction of the Heritage Skills Academy. I think they're based at Bicester. Got the little Austin 10.4 Tourer version of the 10.4. This is a chrome rad car built from 1932 to 1934. This one looks super original. Patina aplenty, and we like that kind of thing here at OCC HQ. It's been retrofitted with sealed beam type headlamps. That was quite a common conversion back in the 1950s, 1960s to improve the lighting. This one, two-seater plus dicky in the back, the dicky seat, or in America it's called the rumble seat. Original registration number and illumination. Originally it would have just had the single stop tail lamp there. In the 1950s there was a rule brought in whereby you had to have two stop tail lamps, and all older cars had to be retrofitted. You've got the steps here as well to clamber in the back. Looks like super duper original leather upholstery as well. Side screens in place. Yeah, I do like these. A little bit bigger than the Austin 7, a little bit newer than many of the Austin 7s that you see, but I do like these. There's just a little bit more room inside them as well. I may have a spare windscreen for one of these because I had a 10.4 3-position cabriolet version of one of these many years ago. And I've got a feeling there's still a screen assembly in the garage. Staying with green, we have the lovely late 1940s Buick. So this is the younger brother to our 31 Buick. Our car saw the debut of the famous straight 8 Buick engine, and this is a later version, a later incarnation of the Buick straight 8. And I've commented on this before when looking at some of the early E-Series Vauxhalls. They have this incredible bonnet arrangement where they're side hinged and you can open them either way. So if you want to get in this side, you can open it that way, and then if you want to clamber over there, you can put it down and then it'll open the other way too. So that's a pretty groovy thing. Like I said, that was shared with the E-Series Vauxhalls, the famous Buick portholes as well on the front fender. I must use American terminology when looking at older cars. Yeah. So Dynaflow, that was Buick's automatic transmission. What an incredible looking car, really. Very eye-catching, wonderful detailing when you look close in. I do like this era. Before they went to all the big fins, which isn't really my kind of thing, the cars were super stylish. Left-hand drive, you got the extra little lamp just over there, controlled by that operating arm that pokes through the top of the door. That is a lot of engine. Over here, the Great British Car Journey, that's somewhere I should really try and get to. Got an MGTF, a Ford Escort RS 2000, representing some of the later modern classics that are here today. So it's always good to see a real variety of ages and types of vehicle at these huge shows. Range Rover alongside, is that a 322? So that's a 2005 Range Rover Vogue, supercharged. I bet that bobs on quite well. Goodwood Road Racing Club member badge on the front grille. Right, let's see which way. Let's go this way. Super little Carman gear there, the VW powered Carman, and talking V-dubs. We've got this pretty groovy left-hand drive oval window VW just over the way here. Lots and lots of traders here, restoration companies, spare parts suppliers, memorabilia suppliers, all sorts you'll find here today. Some kit car action over here. This is the Marlin with the front radiator surround, very much inspired by the Alfa Romeos of the 1920s, with these sort of cut-out slots around the outside. It's pretty neat. Got a Cobra replica here. This, I think, is this a Lomax Citroen 2CV based? You've certainly got the little air-cooled Citroen engine just poking out under there, and indeed, yep, the Citroen double chevrons on the front. Oh, there we go, Lomax. Right, let's carry on along here. Staying with the home build theme, we have the Quantum. This was the Ford-based kit car. Pop-up headlights. We like a bit of pop-up headlight action. Yeah, very much based on Ford mechanicals. This one from about 1986. Super comfy, sporty Recaro seats in this one. Neat to see. Now there you go, you learn something every day. Not pop-up headlamps, but the flaps over the headlamps. So the headlamps are actually fixed, and it's just the flaps, the covers, that pop down. That's interesting. Yep, you learn something new every day. Right, let's carry on up on the left-hand side. It's kind of tricky to figure out a route to walk around here because there's so much going on, but we'll try and feature everything. We've got the Roots Archive Trust, and here the Chrysler based on the old Hillman Avenger. At this point in time, the Hillman name had been dropped, so this is the Talbot Avenger 1.6 GLS, first registered September 1980. 3 owners from new. Wow, that's a bit of a minter, that one, the estate version. Lovely roof bars on it as well. Metallic paints, jazzy wheel trims. It's a pretty rare survivor now. I'm quite partial to a period estate car. Next up, well, staying with the Roots Group theme, this is a Sunbeam Tiger from 1966. So this was basically the Sunbeam Alpine, and they shoehorned initially the 260 cubic inch Ford V8 engine under the bonnet. Looks pretty similar to the Alpine, although you've got the Tiger script on the front there. Many of these have been upgraded to 289, I think 302 cubic inch. I hope I've got that right. But initially they started out, I think, with a 260, similar engine to that fitted to the early Cobras. Got another Tiger here, beautiful looking car in midnight blue. All very agreeable in there, lots of black vinyl, a little bit of a place for your sandwiches in the back there. floor change, 4-speed box, wood dash, lots of gauges, just as you would expect. And we've got a bit of a restoration project Tiger just over the way here. This one looks super duper original. I do like a bit of patina. What are we looking at, sir? Oh, we got some info, have we? All right. I've been directed in the direction of over here. So this has been owned by Mr. Ian Hilton for 52 years, and it has extensive patina. Wow. So there's the full history of this particular car.
You can see daylight through the door.
First registered by Anchor Motors of Chester, a roots dealer, in October '66. So I'm not too far off my patch back at home, in fact. Chester, only about 15 miles away from where we're based. Isn't that wonderful? Look at the old Elf petroleum sticker in the back window. So what an incredible survivor in such long-term ownership. It really is a special car indeed. Right, let's continue our amble along here. Got another 66 Sunbeam Tiger. What a belter that is. We've got a Tiger Mark 1 here, chassis number 57, originally shipped to the USA. Very appropriate private registration number, TIG. Ah, yes, there we go, left-hand drive. Incredible assortment of cars here. Got Sunbeam Alpine Series 5. So there you go, there's the 4-cylinder engine of the Alpine. Lovely stuff. So this is one of the later cars with a slightly truncated, slightly smaller tail fins. This is the car that came before with a much larger tail fins. Which do you prefer? UJB 471. A very sporty looking one here. I'm guessing this is possibly a Works Racer 3001RW, the registration number. There it is, a few years ago. And there it is, 3001RW on the Monte Carlo in 1962, the Monte Carlo Rally. So lots of history. Goodwood TT in 1961. Wow, this really has got all the history. This fantastic car. That's what really floats my boat, is old cars that have got loads of history with them. Where have they been? Who owned them? What have they been up to in all the years that they've been around? This one has clearly led a very exciting competitive life. And judging by all the stickers on it, it continues to do so, which is pretty cool to see. Right, what do we have here? Alpine in white, painted wires, we like those. And this is the Harrington, the Sunbeam Harrington Le Mans. So we've got a fixed fastback roof on here, a bit like the Triumph TR4 Dove, I think they're called. So it transformed the open top Sunbeam Alpine into this with a fastback roof. You can see where it joined on, but it wasn't designed to be taken on and off particularly often, I don't think. That just converts it from a convertible into a very swish looking coupe, especially with the big fins, the big tail fins of these early cars. It really is a bit of a Bobby Dazzler. You've white wall tyres, they really do suit it. Can't say that for every car that has white walls on, but this really does. It's quite a glamorous looking car. Nominal rear seating as well. You probably can't see. Yeah, the small seat in the back as well. I'm guessing this was probably based on the Sunbeam Alpine GT, which was a variant of the Sunbeam Alpine that did have a rear seat and a lift-off hardtop. It didn't have a folding roof, but you could lift the hardtop off if the weather was looking promising. Yeah, fantastic lineup of sporting Roots Group cars. Oh, there we go. There's the old brochure for the Sunbeam Harrington Le Mans. Pretty cool. What have we got here? The Hillman Imp. Lovely set of wide steel wheels on this one as well. Metallic paint, as so many of them did have. In fact, this is the same colour as there used to be an old boy who lived up the road from us when I was growing up back in the 1970s, and he had an Imp in this exact same colour. You could always tell when he was going out for a drive because it was maximum revs and he just modulated his speed by the clutch, so you could hear it doing about 8,000 revs as he pulled out the driveway. And he must have got through clutches at an incredible rate. We've got a 65 imp here, beautiful, I love the colour of that. Equally immaculate grey example here of the Singer. So is this the Chamois? Sometimes get these mixed up. It's on a 65 registration. Let's have a look around the back. So there were a few different badge engineered versions of the imp. Lovely lift up rear window as well. That was quite a neat feature on all the imps of this shape. Engine in the tail. These were built up at Linwood in Scotland. Look at this great little comma cob. Oh, it's a comma imp, this one. Great little van with a livery of Roots Group Competitions Department. Oh, that's neat. Similar wheels to those fitted to our Herald. Oh, how cool is that? Competitions Department, Stoke Plant, Humber Road, Coventry, CV3 1BD. I do like that. Now a bit more commercial vehicle action here, and look at this incredible noddy van, badged as an Austin. Wow, what a thing. Dating to the mid 1960s, so yeah, as originally used by BRS, British Road Services. Yeah, parcel delivery. And it's got That is one properly rare vehicle with like the sort of step through cab, the walk through cab. I know there were a few commas built like this, so basically you had sliding doors either side and you could just walk through depending on which side you needed to hop in and out of the vehicle, and you could get into the rear cargo area from the driver's seat as well. So this is a seriously rare survivor. Very, very few of these have survived. It's kind of the size of vehicles like this often leads to them being left outside because they just don't fit inside a typical garage. They're very, very lofty. And as more and more farms, outbuildings get converted into living accommodation, so the options for storing tall vehicles like this become fewer and fewer. So to see this really cool mid-60s Austin here today, well, that is a bit of a treat. Alongside, badged up Austin Morris, we have a JU 250. It's a drop side pickup of the early 1970s. So this was the replacement for the J4, and before that the J2, and indeed the Morris J-Type before that. And I guess this was probably replaced by the Leyland Sherpa eventually. But this is the JU 250. Don't see too many of these around. Occasionally you see a van, but not many of these really rare drop side pickup trucks, so I do like that. Wow, would you take a look at this? The Austin A40 pickup, the little 1000 weight pickup. This is, well, these are probably one of the best looking, in my eyes, British pickup trucks of all time. I did have a couple of these many, many years ago during my Austin Devon owning days, but neither was as immaculate as this beauty here. The front end clearly inspired by the Austin A40 Devon. Slightly different grille on these. The early vans and pickups had the same Mazak shiny grille as the Devon and the Dorset saloons, but over time, I mean, these were produced alongside the A40 Somerset, so even though the Devon went out of production in the early 50s, they carried on making the vans and the pickups still with the Devon type styling, which is what you see here. Although it looks very similar to a Devon, there are very few panels are actually shared with it. The wings, the front wings, have a slightly larger opening to accommodate slightly heavier section wheels that were fitted to the vans and the pickups compared to the cars. This is quite an early one in many respects because it's got the very small headlights, they're about 5 inch, but it's got the later painted grille. It is a cracking thing, and in the back, of course, the little Austin J40 pedal car. Again, A couple of those used to grace my office here at OCC HQ. This is a cracker. This is a fairly early one with a flying A on the top of the bonnet. Later ones that was deleted because it was feared that children might impale themselves on it. I guess they probably had a point, but again inspired by the styling of the A40 Devon, introduced in the late 1940s and sold until I think the early 1970s, so they had a really long production run, whereas the Pathfinder racing car, pedal car, was only produced from 1949 to 1950. These J40s were produced for years and years and are highly sought after now. One of the most in-demand pedal cars that you can find now, and you can well see why. Beautiful. You lift the bonnet up, it's got a little engine in there with real spark plugs, real champion spark plugs inside it, working headlights as well. Fantastic. Right, must keep moving. Lovely LC series Morris commercial here. Wow, look at this one. So what date is this one? Early 30s, late 20s, early 1930s. It's a very characterful old girl, that is. If you like this kind of thing, make sure you get up to the British Commercial Vehicle Museum up in Leyland, because they've got some stunning early commercial vehicles like this. So what year is this? 1927, ex-Army Troop Carrier. Wow, there you go. Bit of the history. Just pause the video if you want to learn all about how this beautiful old lorry came to survive. So 2.5 litre 4-cylinder side valve engine. Lovely, again lovely cast radiator header tank, proudly emblazoned with the Morris commercial name, CM. Or MC rather, on the radiator cap as well. Lucas lamps, RA7580, so presumably the original registration number. Isn't that just glorious? As you may have spotted, I'm a bit of a sucker for old lorries and commercial vehicles in general. Apologies for the reflections. Quite a short wheelbase on this one. Great to see so much interest still in the older lorries and vans and pickup trucks as well as cars. And long may that continue. Right, let's carry on down here and we'll revisit some products from BMC, etc. in a little while. Now we are back to Roots Group, and I do have a bit of a soft spot for these as well. The Humber Super Snipe. I do like these, especially these earlier cars with the curvier roof and a wraparound rear window. Later cars, it was all squared off a bit on the roof line. These sort of late 50s, very beginning of the 1960s, I think, still had the curvy roof and back window. Maybe this was a diplomatic car, perhaps. Rare survivor. You don't see many good ones of these around. Super comfy. I did have ideas of buying one of these in my late teens. I came across one of the later Super Snipes with the twin headlights per side. It had been chauffeur driven from new. Little old lady owned it. There was talk of them selling it for about £1,000, but at the time I didn't have £1,000, so they didn't come to anything, so maybe it was a good thing. And here we have the earlier Hawk from the early 1950s. There we go, superb from every point of view. Grace and elegance. Lovely quality car. For the arrival to your Rover P4s, and we'll see some P4 action a little bit later on here today at the Classic Motor Show. Moving to the early 1960s, an immaculate Humber Scepter, complete with a December 63 tax disc in the window. Have you ever owned one of these? It's always fun to read your comments below the videos that I put up here on the Old Classic Car channel, especially if you remember owning any of these cars. Maybe you own one of these now, maybe you own this car or one of the other cars here on display at the NEC. Again, always great to read your thoughts and comments. Cars you like, cars that you're not so keen on, maybe cars that you've owned and you have no wish to own again for whatever reason. Right, Sunbeam Alpine, is it? It's a drop head coupe, this one is. Roots Group certainly knew how to produce an interior. 70 glorious years of the Sunbeam Alpine. That was just a couple of years ago. What a wonderful, handsome machine. And hats off to everyone who is displaying cars here today, and indeed involved with the organisation of these club displays, because it takes a huge amount of effort and time, and indeed money, to put these displays together. So much thought goes into them. Setup started, I think, on Wednesday. Got Sunbeam Alpine here, another beautiful car. Clearly started out as a bit of a basket case. Lovely louvered bonnet on this car. Little Sunbeam here. So this was the final evolution of what was the Sunbeam Talbot 90. I think they dropped the 90 part of the name by this point in time. Oh, beautiful. So is this the Sunbeam, I forget, Mark III, is it? Yeah, Sunbeam Mark III Sports Saloon 1955. So yes, they dropped the Talbot part of the name by this point in time. These three portholes were a feature of these late cars, which didn't appear on the earlier Sunbeam Talbot 80s and 90s. Lovely set of Lucas lamps on the front there, and badging to another GRRC members badge. Yeah, so much effort goes into these stalls and displays. Right, we'll carry on along here. Got a Sierra Cosworth, the Lotus Carlton. There's a bit of a bad boy. Peugeot 106 GTI. Great little pedal car down here, somewhat dwarfed by a Ferrari Daytona, the front-engined V12 Ferrari. That's a handsome son of a gun, circa 1971. Who remembers the Gumball Rally from 1976 that featured an open-top version, one of those racing against an AC Cobra and various other cars as well. Right. We've got a military spec Land Rover here. There's one like this turns up at the Combermere meeting that we go to. I wonder if it's the same one. Very distinctive desert spec colour scheme. Can't be too many of these around. Mustang GT500E. Right. Let's carry on. Right, we're at the MG Owners Club stand. Now, what model is this? It reminds me of the 1880, but I could easily be wrong on that. Whatever it is, beautiful car and wonderful dash as well. Look at that huge Jaeger Speedo over there. And indeed, the tachometer, the matching tacho, the rev counter, just over here. Ammeter, oil pressure, other gauges over there. Many switches. What a fantastic thing that is. MGA Roadster. So the car that fitted in between the TF and the MGB. Talking of MGBs, we've got a GT here. So these were announced late in 1965. The Roadster had been on sale since 1962. That's pretty neat. What have we got here? Very late chrome bumper GT. So this was a Pininfarina restyle. Slightly higher roofline compared to your regular MGB Roadsters. And yes, this is a V8. There's a badge there, but I was going off these wheels, which were unique to the V8 powered cars with a Rover 3.5 under the bonnet. I'm already losing my voice. Right, let's keep going. See what gems we can spot. The little MG there, the little mid-engine MG with a K-series. The Hillman Owners Club. Got an Arrow series Hillman Minx here. So by the late 1960s, early 70s, cars were getting a lot boxier in their design. Yeah, this was called the Arrow series, which replaced the earlier Audax era of Minxes. You could also get the estate car version of these as well. The Hillman Avenger Tiger, so the sporty, pepped up version of the Hillman Avenger. Very distinctive colour scheme, usually bright yellow or indeed orange, with the distinctive graphics down the side. The rally prepared Hillman Hunter GLS. These were a bit of a hot rod in their day. These ones went very, very well by all accounts, and this one has had quite a few mods under the bonnet. That's quite a bonny machine. Now let's just amble across the way here. Very unusual looking Singer here. So it's got the full fold back roof, fixed doors, fixed frame around here. Got the full fold back roof, a bit like the Austin 7 Pearl, but that was a bit later than this car. Look at the trim in there. Wow. Like the case on the back seat there, Singer Motors. That's very neat. So this is this 1929 Singer Senior Sunshine Saloon. Wow. There can't be too many of those left now. What a beauty, the old artillery wheels on it there. Right, and we'll carry on around here. A little Singer 9 Le Mans. So named after Singer's successes at the Le Mans races in the 1930s. This was a rival to the MGs of the day. So mid 1930s, this one. Twin wheels on the back, that was a bit of a Singer thing. MGs tended to have a single wheel on the back. MGs, the two that you see here, still very popular in VSCC events, circuit races, hill climbs, trialling, all that kind of thing. Right, now which way shall we go? Let's go up here. Right, so we'll just go past the Hillmans and head in the direction of some Morris-based vehicles. The minor LCV register. So we've got an Austin badged version of the Morris van here. A little Morris pickup. Non-standard body on the back, so a bit of a one-off custom job, that one. This is a car I remember, or van rather, I remember seeing at the WEM Vehicles of Interest many, many years ago. The world's oldest known Morris Minor right-hand drive van. Proper preservation job, this one. Smaller windows in the back doors of the early Moggy vans. And I love how the repairs have been made out of old Castrol oil tins. It's a very neat idea. So that's one way of doing repairs without welding panels in. This is a sort of repair that people would have done in the 1950s and 1960s to keep their old van on the road. It's got the correct bonnet on it as well for a commercial without the side moulding that runs down there. Early cheese grater grill example. And this, the much later Morris van. Never really sold, I don't think, as a Morris Minor van, but that's what they tend to be known as. This one somewhat different under the bonnet. Gone is the A-Series engine, to be replaced by a much modified Ford Z-Tech engine. A little Royal Mail Morris van here. What a beauty that is. Lots of little detail differences compared to your regular vans. This very mechanical door opening arrangement and latch was, I think, unique to these Royal Mail vans. Nice one. Yeah, the little vents, the grills in the window, that was another Royal Mail stroke GPO feature. Different door locks as well, big hefty Yale lock there. Got the flashing pop-up semaphores on the side of the pillar. Has it got the split? Yeah, it's got the split windscreen arrangement, but unlike the cars, one side will open, i.e. the one in front of the driver, so for a bit of added demisting on those cold, damp, wintry mornings, you could pop the driver's side open and demist your window fairly promptly, I would have thought. Yeah. Great to see such a good survivor of one of those. Let's carry on over here. GPO motorcycle, and this, the Morris Z van. So this was a contemporary of the Morris 8 Series E, still with the same 918 engine, this 918cc side valve 4-cylinder engine under the bonnet. And again, just as with the Royal Mail van over there, lots of differences between this and the regular civilian Z vans. Some of these had rubber wings, different style door handles. These carriage type were unique, standard fitment on these post office telephone vans. The bonnet catches were different as well. On these, you've got the lift up catches. On the regular civilian vans, you had the budget locks where you put like a little T handle in, and that's what opens it. You've got ladders on the roof. Again, the mesh inside the rear doors. Look at all this, beautifully equipped with all the period bits and bobs. Got some of the old Bakelite telephones, service gear. Wow. What a super thing. Alongside that, pretty early minivan, again with a pretty hefty security clasp on the back doors. These early vans had the vent in the roof, just like the A35s did and the A30s before. So that one looks like a pretty original survivor van, that one. Good to see that. This one badged up as a Morris. Right, fantastic stuff. Okie dokie, right, let's carry on in this general direction. As is typical here at the NEC, the Sporting Bears are doing their money-raising charity drives out for anyone who fancies a ride out in an exciting car of their choice. All sorts of cars, new cars, old cars, everything from a Toyota GR Yaris through to Citroen 2CV, bit of American Plymouth, I think, action over there. Jaguar Mark II on mini lights, Metro, BMW E36 Cabriolet, all sorts. Lots and lots of money will be raised for very, very good causes. Rightio. Audi's here. TT Coupe, slightly earlier Audi 80, I think. Yeah. What do we have over here? The DKW stroke Auto Union Owners Club. Right, let's have a looky here. This is a handsome machine. I'm hoping to do a video fairly soon about a collection of East German Auto Union stroke DKWs in the fairly near future, so keep an eye on the channel for that. These are pretty groovy looking little cars with the big fins. Reminds me a little bit of the old Ford Thunderbirds. Very pronounced tail fins on these. Great shape. They're pretty cool. Yep, this is an Audi 80. This is the Audi 80 Sport. So I don't see many of these around. Those very oh-so 1980s graphics. Which is this? So this is the DKW F102 with a badge that would later be adopted by Audi. So what was it? DKW Horch, Wanderer, an Auto Union, I think. one ring for each of the companies that were grouped together to form what became Audi. Bit of an oily rag motorcycle here. So what's this? A DKW Auto Union bike. That really is cool. Look at this over here. Two more DKWs, both left-hand drive cars. Little two-stroke engines in these, rear hinge doors. Can't quite see in, but it looks very, very original in there. Very, very nice indeed. It's lovely to see some of these slightly more obscure cars that you don't always see at the car shows that we find our way over to. I'm sure many of the vehicles, this is a 1957, I'm sure many of these vehicles don't go to many other shows at all in a typical year. So it's really cool to see them here. This, the DKW 1000S. Just lovely detailing. Look at those rear light clusters. The fuel filler cap with the 4 rings on it. Big, big wraparound 3-piece screen. Not sure what that siren was. Right. Let's amble up this way, but yeah, pretty cool to see those DKWs and Auto Unions. VW post van here. Little Golf Cabriolet. VW Beetle from 1972. One of the little Harlequin VW Polos. This is a replica of the Harlequin, so named because all the panels were different colours, just like you see on this recreation here. We've got more Audis. We've got quite a gaggle of VW powered beach buggies. Yeah. Audi coupes, the Quattro here, 4-wheel drive Quattros.
When she used to go shopping in it, if she bought it there, same.
Starting to get busy now. This is a busy, busy event. This, the S1, which was pretty much the ultimate evolution of the Audi Quattro rally car, prepared very much with Group B rallying in mind. We also went to Pikes Peak, I seem to remember. Pretty wild looking and sounding cars. Great 5-cylinder turbocharged engines. A bit more Audi action here. Another Audi AT, a super clean example there. Audi Coupe. Another Audi AT Sport. My God. Just over the way over here. A gaggle of the later coupes and cabriolets. VW Siroccos also represented here today by this gaggle here. VW Corrados alongside, representing VW coupes of the 1990s. Rally prepared Golf GTI, much modified Corrado here. Wow, it's a serious set of rims and arches on that one. Right. Air-cooled VW action. A quick look round here and then we'll work our way down here. Camper vans. Pop-top roof.
You know what, bring me up though.
That's pretty neat. Wowzers. A vintage Rolls Royce no less. So what's the deal with this one? 1927. Rolls-Royce 20 horsepower cockshoot saloon, 6-cylinder 3.1 litres, coil and magneto, ignition, a 4-speed crash box. The Spirit of Ecstasy proudly flying on the top of the radiator. Both doors are open, so we can have a look inside. Nice. Fine hooter there. What a beauty, look at that. So a few things to negotiate when you're clambering inside or Well, that was probably the chauffeur's problem. Lovely split V windscreen that you can see in there. Well stocked dash as you would expect on a car of this kind of calibre. A Rolls Royce from the late 1920s, the late vintage era. Presumably hand throttle, advancing retard, I would have thought. How agreeable does that look? There we go. Joseph Cockshoot & Co Limited of Manchester. We've got the smoker's hatch there to let out the pipe smoke on a long trip. Fantastic. Beautiful quality car. Okie dokie. Right, now let's. I don't want to miss anything out. P5B here. So V8 powered Rover. We'll have a look at those Rovers in a short while. We've got a Series 1.5 E-Type Roadster. I'm not entirely sure what this is. The Moby 1 with clearly rear wheel steering. Oh, there we go. The Moby 1 Mini hasn't been on display for the last 25 years. Recently saved from a barn in London, registered in 1967. So this was built as an auto test special, and I can imagine it will be very, very handy indeed for getting around the cones in any auto test situation. So that is very, very neat indeed. Right, let's go down here past the shiny red E-Type. What do we have here? So, very natty looking coupe. What is it, Wolseley? March? No, what is it? It's a Lanchester. A Lanchester, what a belter. So at this point in time it was part of Daimler. Indeed, the shape of the scuttle is very similar to pre-war Daimlers. But Lanchester was kind of like the smaller, slightly more affordable car, still with a pre-selected gearbox. And this, a fixed head coupe. Now, let's just stand back a bit. I'm guessing this could be a Mulliner coupe. The reason I'm saying that is years ago I used to have in the early 30s Mulliner bodied Daimler 15 coupe. It was a very similar shape to this, which if it's anything like mine, the rear area, yeah, so you got the hinges on this side, the catches are on this side, so it opens up sideways to get into the luggage area here. I'm guessing this is Mulliner. Mulliner did a lot of the coachwork on Daimlers and Lanchesters. And I'm pretty sure that's what we are looking at there. What do we have over here? The Rover motorcycle and sidecar from 1921. It's up for sale. There we go. So there's a phone number if you wish to buy an early 1920s vintage Rover motorcycle. What a cracking thing it is as well. Oh, look at that. Bit of info there. 500cc, 3.5 horsepower engine, renowned for its smooth and reliable performance, we are told. It really is quite the eye-catching motorcycle and sidecar combination. Look at that. What a thing. The Rover bicycle from 1898 is alongside it too. Wonderful plated fittings, the nickel plated fittings, the lamp, the sprung lamps. I won't touch it, but these bounce up and down as you go over the bumps on the road. Springing in the mounting there. Yeah. Same for the rear lamp. Look at this magnificent Brooks saddle. So I like a bit of that. This is a rare old girl. This is the Marauder, which was based largely around Rover P4 running gear. And you can see sort of hints of early P4 in the shape of these front wings, although the front of these is much, much longer than the P4. So, two-seater touring GT, if you like. This one from 1951, number 5 of just 15 built between 1950 and 1952. OUG 777. That is one rare motor car. There we go. Fast touring car. Yeah, there we go. Peter Wilkes, Spen King, two of the gentlemen behind the design of these really eye-catching cars. With names associated with the Land Rover as well, which came along in 1948. Oh dear. Oh, I remember seeing pictures of this online, and this was not very long ago. Had a bit of a coming together. Happily. Oh, is there? Oh, there's some leaflets on the bonnet. I'll take one of those in a minute. But what an incredibly rare car. Beautiful framed side windows as well. What a cracker. Don't see too many of these around. I remember seeing one driving on the road in North Wales once, but they are certainly few and far between. Right, let's carry on round here. Got a slightly earlier Rover now. Super well equipped dash, an open top Rover. What's this then? P1 I think these were called. The Rover 12 horsepower. Rover 12 Tourer. Bit of information there. Very elegant looking car. Rovers, real quality jobs back in the 1930s, 40s, 50s and into the 1960s. Right, there are more Rovers behind me, but I need to go down here. Metro action alongside me to my left. Quite the variety of Metros, headed up by this Van den Plas edition, so that's one of the posh ones, with the metallic paint, strips down the side, tinted glass, pop-up sunroof, and sumptuous velour interior. Nice assortment of Metros down there. And now this is an incredible car, the unique Rover Estate, based on a P5B, and an enterprising owner has converted this in fairly recent times to be an estate car to be used for towing, I believe, a period caravan. Yeah, classic caravan. Let's just stand back and admire that. It's an incredible job. You'd think this was a factory conversion. I remember last time I came here, if you watch my video of the 2024 NEC event, I remember seeing an incredible Riley RM estate, but I don't remember seeing this amazing vehicle before. Isn't that just incredible? I think that's probably the owner talking there on the right. I'm sure I went to his house once many years ago, and he was building, I think, a coupe version, a two-door coupe version. I'm sure that was him. What an incredible conversion. I wonder if this tailgate was taken from something else or adapted from something else. But you would think that was a factory job. So neat, is it? It really is. Quite something. Yes, 30 odd years ago I visited this gentleman's house buying some parts for the XJ12 that I used to run. That is just an incredible conversion. Fold down seats even, modified rear doors, totally different to the P5 coupe and saloon. So the amount of work that's gone into this, the tailgate converted from a 124 series Merc estate. So with a bit of luck I'll try and do a special video about this unique P5B at some point in the fairly near future. Got a P5B coupe alongside, make that 2. So many interesting cars here today.
Thanks.
I'm going to have to get a bit of a wriggle on, I think, because certainly get through batteries. We've got a Princess limo here. Wowzers. Leyland Princess Enthusiasts Club. Yeah, long wheelbase limousine version of the 2200 HLS from 1979. So there's factory produced Princess saloon, 4-door. And this, the much elongated version alongside it. It's pretty cool. Quite a few of these Leyland Princesses, in fact, here today. Facing the Rover SD1 stand. Of course, these would have been sold alongside each other in British Leyland dealerships back in the 1970s. I well remember visiting Reed's of Cheadle when I was a youth, collecting car brochures. Funny enough, yesterday we were driving through Stoke and we spotted the corner of a Rover SD1 Vitesse just like this poking out of someone's driveway. Should really have gone and had a look at it, but not to worry. Right, the P6s are over this way. I'd say apologies, I'd love to spend more time on each of the cars here today at the NEC, but I think there are thousands, literally thousands of cars here, so it's not really viable to check out each individual car, but I'll do the best that I can. The Rolls-Royce Employees Motor Club. Right. A variety of motor cars, the TVR 3000M. I know someone who would like to see that. The big Triumph saloons along the back there, lovely examples in green and a blue one. Another MGA, somewhat modified with louvered bonnet, no less.
Yellow.
This one from 1961. B-Series engine, 80 brake horsepower. This one with steel wheels fitted to it, which I think really do suit it very nicely indeed. Now, over the way, bit of Singer action. This is the Singer Roadster. Most of these were built following the Second World War. Singer cycles, and indeed Singer tricycle there. Another Singer 9 Roadster. There are various different versions of these. The last one had a shallower radiator grille compared to the 4AB. That was a bit earlier. We've got a Singer Gazelle convertible. Now that's a rare old girl. So this was badge engineering in full flow, based on the Hillman Minx, but the Singer was always the sportier, slightly plusher equipped car in the Roots Group range. A 4-seater no less. And again, lovely Roots interior. Rare car. And we have a pre-war Singer, the Singer 9 Bantam, as it handily says on the rear wing now. That's quite handy. Sometimes it's quite tricky to identify these slightly more obscure cars. This one from 1936, a 4-door deluxe. That's pretty cool. Body very similar to the Morris 8. In competition with the Ford Model Y, which was the little Ford 8. Yeah, super nice car, this one. Not sure I've ever seen one of these before, with a very distinctive mascot. Lovely little car. My grandparents on mum's side, they had a couple of early Singers going way back in time. There was a Singer 9 Sports, I think it was, which they always called the Le Mans. And after that, a Singer 9 Coupe. So there have been Singers in the Jones-Thompson family over the years. Lovely car. You see the Ford Model Ys, you see the Morris 8s, but very few of these little Singer 9 Bantams. So it's a real treat to see that one here today on the Singer Motor Club stand. Right, let's carry on along here. More Morrises.
At around chassis number 109, 2769.
More Morris van, saloons. Saloons various. We've got a couple of 4-doors here. Selection of biscuits. Right, we'll just go down here. Bonnet up on this one. There's the oh so familiar inline A-series engine. It's quite a late one on the J plate. Looks like very original paint as well. Got that lovely sort of glowing bloom to the old paint. There's a cabriolet there. Right, convertible rather. So let's keep going. I don't want to miss anything out. It's getting pretty busy, as you can probably tell. Got a Traveller there. Very original two-door from 1963 here. Let's just go across here, sneak across here, just to check out a couple more classic Singers. So this, the Singer Vogue, pretty similar really to the Humber Scepter, which I think we've seen one of those already here this morning. Another little Singer 9 Roadster just there. Immaculate example in red. And we did this side of the stand a little bit earlier. Look at this Singer tricycle from 1888. Solid tyres. I love the little footrests there on the front forks. Suspension. Big hefty chain drive as well. That's neat. Sprung saddle. Yeah, you would have felt quite the man about town, or indeed the lady about town, on any of these high quality bicycles. Oh, look at that. The Lucas and Sons Hollow Foat King of the Road lamp. Again, suspended, so that springy mounting there. Wooden handlebar grips. Very lightweight frame. How thin are those tubes? Still with the original pinstriping. Hope you can see that, but yeah, what a lovely wide section chain as well. Yeah, really neat to see such a broad variety of ages. This Singer has easy drive transmission. So is that a form of automatic? I guess it's got a floor change in there. Right, answers on the postcard. This 4A Roadster dates to 1950. Like I say, these earlier Singer 9 Roadsters have somewhat longer, deeper, taller radiator grille compared to the final versions of 4ADs. Right. Now we are looking at Riley's. Riley bicycle. Riley, like so many car makers, started out making bicycles before they ventured into the world of the automobile. This is a super original. Look at the bell on there. Wow, that's a neat little thing. But this one, super original. It's great that it's been preserved rather than just repainted. And a Riley motorcycle with a flat tank bike. This one from 1904. I believe it was modernised in 1912 to give it a lower centre of gravity. What a fine machine. Right, we will carry on down here. We're going back to veteran times now, an 1898 Riley. And this is a War Department spec Riley, the WD War Department Tourer. No shiny chrome or nickel plating on these, everything painted out, including the radiator surround. I've never seen one of these before with the painted radiator surround. So this one dates to 1932. It's got the correct War Department 2-gallon fuel can on the running board there. So it's basically a 4-seat Tourer. Pretty large diameter wheels. Lovely original interior as well. Look at those beautiful leather seats. It really is a stunning car. Just a sticker for the Military Vehicle Trust in the windscreen as well. The Trust are well represented here today. Over in the far corner of this particular hall there are loads and loads of military vehicles. What's this Riley here? This is a Lynx from 1933. So this is a Riley RM, one of several cars that were produced throughout the 1950s, late 40s, 50s. This with a pale badge, the pale blue badge, is a 2.5 litre Riley RM, still with its original reg and plates, so I like that kind of thing. And this, the Riley Kestrel, so this was the badge engineered Riley version of the good old Austin Morris 1100. This one from 1966, a super duper rare car, one of the rarest variants of the 1100, the ADO 16 design that BMC came up with. That a 4-door saloon, got the little Riley Elf alongside, based on the Mini, of course. Right, let's carry on down here, a bit of MG action. MG's various, we've got a TC here, so just post-war, late 1940s, yep, 1946 MG-TC. This is the MG-TD, which had steel disc wheels as standard. So this was the replacement for the TC alongside. Slightly more modern these. I think these had independent suspension as well. So quite a few upgrades under the skin, but style-wise still very much inspired by the pre-war cars. This is quite a lot larger now. Is this a V8 or an SA? I'm never quite sure. The SA was the larger engine of the two. So this is a VA Tickford 1.5 litre drop head coupe. So it's got a 3-position roof, so you can have it fully closed, partially open, as you see it here, where the people in the front get to enjoy the sunshine, or you can fold it all the way back. Hence these pram irons on the side here, which crack in half there, and you can fold the whole roof back. It's a beautiful, beautiful car. Just stand back to admire the lines of that very rare MG VA. Nice. And alongside that we have the MG TF, so that was the replacement for the TD. There's a question for you. If you know your MGs, where was the MG TE? Was there ever an MG TE? Who knows? On the end here, another example of the MG TC, this one in glistening black coachwork. Now another classic British make that you don't hear of all that often nowadays is Armstrong Siddeley, producer of many, many fine motor cars right through into the early 1960s. This one somewhat earlier, this is a 1935 Armstrong Siddeley special short wheelbase. There we go. 253 built in long or short wheelbases. And if you've been following the channel at all recently, you'll know I did a video featuring a Packard and another 1935 Armstrong Siddeley, both on a gentleman's driveway that I visited and did a video of. That video has been on the channel for just a couple of weeks or so, so if you haven't seen that yet and you like your old Armstrong Siddleys, please check out that video when you have finished here. Beautiful car, very distinctive shape to this era, the mid-1930s Armstrong Siddleys. Lovely central lamp there, the Sphinx radiator mascot proudly atop the very rakish leaned back radiator. Quite often cars at this time still had bolt upright radiator grills, but as the 1930s progressed, designs became just that little bit sleeker, and just the angle of the radiator shells did start to lean back just a little bit. So this is a 4-door saloon, rear hinge doors to the back, and as I pointed out on the driveway find Armstrong Siddeley, very distinctive door handles on these Armstrong Siddleys, framed glass. And this is like that Armstrong Siddeley that I went to see, in so much as you can wind, you've got your little winder inside just at the top of the inside door panel there, so you can wind the whole shooting match up and down. But if you just want a little bit of ventilation, you can slide the glass within this whole unit. So you can slide this up, you can have the window fully up, but you can slide the window backwards and forwards within this framework, and that's not something I've seen on any other cars. You can see over there the split window as well. So that's quite a neat little design feature of these pre-war Armstrong Sidleys. That is a wonderful looking car. Now the Military Vehicle Trust have a spectacular display over here. Got a Jeep here, gentleman in full desert gear there, all the bells and whistles. A super impressive display. Lots of military vehicles too. And one that I really wanted to have a look at is this one-off incredible Mercury, V8 Mercury. This came over here in the 1930s and went straight off to be built into what you see here. Malcolm Campbell's 1939 Mercury station wagon. So there's the history. So of course Malcolm Campbell, famous for his land speed and water speed record attempts. So this was brought in 1939, the first right-hand drive Mercury V8 into Great Britain, sent off to Windovers, converted into a station wagon body for use by him and his team during his Bluebird water speed record attempts on Lake Windermere. Later in 1942, this was lent to George Formby, who needed a vehicle while he was going around North Africa entertaining the troops. So George Formby got to use this as well. So what an incredible vehicle, so much history. And isn't it wonderful that this one survives at all? The Mercury 8 Series 99A estate car. Wow, if that could talk. Sir Malcolm Campbell, bit of a hero for many in the pre-war years, not least to Donald Healey. Donald Healey? No, Donald Campbell. Only 10% battery remaining, I'm told, on this particular battery. Fortunately, I've got two more. That's just a timely reminder that I need to get a bit of a wriggle on. What a treat. And, yeah, all sorts of military vehicles now. I'm aware this isn't a military vehicle channel. If I get a chance, I'll come and have a proper look around later. I did want to have a quick look at this GMC, the 2.5 ton Jimmy, the GMC. Thousands of these were produced for the Second World War. Many went across during the D-Day landings. Big chunky fella, another GMC here. Very similar era to my 1940 3-ton Dodge truck back at home, which also started out for the military with the Royal Air Force before being converted into a race car transporter, but very similar age, just a couple of years older than this Jimmy that we see here, the 2.5 ton Jimmy. Right, let's carry on. Ooh, now, all sorts of things here today. Look at this incredible half-track. I'm not sure who made this, possibly White, American company. When I was a kid, I had a toy one of these. Can't remember who made it, but it was one of the most memorable toys from my childhood. It was an incredible half-track just like this. So when I spotted this one in the distance, I thought I've got to come and have a closer look at this. What an amazing, amazing machine. Huge heavy winch on the front here. No concessions to beauty with this incredible bit of kit. Jerry can, which of course was actually originally a German design. The jerry cans, not the truck. Hence the name Jerry Can. Right, let's carry on. Yeah, half track. Amazing, amazing thing. We've got some armoured vehicles over here. Right, going to slightly more recent times. Gentleman up there in position. And this way we've got the whole gaggle of Range Rovers, various ages, including this, the P38, and the original from about 1970 here, the original, now called Range Rover Classic. Two doors to begin with, all with a 3.5 V8, the diesel will come later. Staying with Land Rover products, we've got a lovely Series 1 here, complete with farming implement hanging off the side, just demonstrating incredible versatility. Got the PTO, the power takeoff on the back, operating this pretty fearsome looking saw. Wouldn't want to get your fingers in the way of that. Yeah, really, what a great display there. More Series 1 Land Rover action down here. There's a special bodied one here. Just a reminder of the great versatility that was offered by these four-wheel drive Land Rovers, inspired as they were by the wartime Jeeps. Yeah, pretty cool. The Royal Military Police. Rightio. Slightly later, that's a 64 Series 2. Nice bit of badging going on the back here. Conversion by R.J. Searle. RAC Great Britain plaque on the back as well. Oh, look at that. What a great setup. Look at the roof on it. Oh, let's just have a quick look at that roof. Oh, I bet this cost a pretty penny when it was new. That is quite a conversion of the classic Series 2 Landy. And I'm now down to 5%, so time for a battery change and a bagel, I think. Oh, look at this fantastic breakdown truck, based on a 1962, apparently, Series 2 or 2A, slightly later registration. It is pretty groovy. Look at the sign writing on that. St Mary's Motor Company, 24-hour breakdown service. Very neat vehicle indeed. More caravanning camping action rather, based on the Landy. Early discoveries over there. They've got quite the following now. Let's keep going over this way. Land Rover Freelanders. The Commonwealth Car Club. The Rover 400 Saloon. There we go. Yep, the Military Vehicle Trust. Huge display of vehicles here today, and really cool to see them here. Right. Bit of Americana there. A Dodge Challenger. Oh, look at this. The Austin A40 Farina Owners Club. In fact, this is the only club that I'm actually a member of. This exactly the same. I mean, this is left-hand drive. This one spent a lot of its life in France. So this one is the same Farina grey as our little 1960 Mark 1 tucked away at home. And this too also has the Farina grey roof, which was a special order, certainly here in the UK anyway, because typically the Farina grey A40s had a white or a black roof. Was it a black roof? I think it probably was black on the Mark 1s. So this would have the 948 version of the A-Series engine. Bit of info there on the Owners Club. A huge assortment of repair panels are produced by this club. So even though it's only a fairly small club, sort of 400 or so members, they really do an incredible job, both with the magazine and keeping these A40s on the road. Because survivors are few and far between. At one time these were everywhere, but now they are very thin on the ground indeed. So this is the Mark 1, which came out in 1958. It shared its running gear with the Austin A35. Then we've got a Mark II Saloon just over the way here. This belongs to the gentleman that runs the spare parts service, or co-runs now the spare parts service. So the Mark II, slightly different front on it, longer wheelbase as well. Initially they also had the 948 version of the A-Series engine, later enlarged to 1098, just as was the Morris Minor. Actually, this isn't the car I was thinking it is, because this is a saloon. The gentleman that runs or co-runs the spare parts service, he's got a black Countryman. And talking of Countrymans, we have a maroon example over here. Just losing my voice slightly, but yes, so this is the Countryman with the split two-piece rear tailgate arrangement, making it a lot more practical than the regular saloon like we've got back at base. really making maximum use of the boxy lines of the little baby Farina. So this is the Mark II, different dash compared to the Mark 1s. So everything was different pretty much, apart from the engine. At least to begin with, the engine was the same, 948 and then 1098. Yeah, this one's a real beauty, this one. Yeah, the Owners Club, they produce all manner of repair panels and other parts to help keep these rare little Austins on the road. A bit of memorabilia here. I should really get one of these mugs one day, shouldn't I? The A40 Farina Club, there we are, 1958 to 1967. So the A40 Farinas were only produced for what? 10 years or so, give or take. Yeah, 9 years, so it's not much indeed. Of course, they were sold alongside the slightly smaller Mini, the slightly larger 1100, and they were popular, but they weren't huge sellers, I don't think. And I took my test back in 1987 in our Farina Grey Mark 1, so seeing this one here today is a real reminder of when I used to daily my A40 all those years ago. Right, and continuing with the BMC theme, there is a lovely BMC J4 van at the back there. I was talking about those. That was the model that came before the JU250 that we were looking at before. Little Velo Solex engine over the front wheel, a French machine. This is a fairly early one with the tubular swan neck frame. The later ones had a more squared off boxy frame on them. Honda alongside. Now what do we have here? The Austin 7, the Midlands Austin 7 Club. So the MGs we've seen. Yep, the variety of Austin 7s here. This one with a fold back roof. So this is one of the later Austin 7s, the Ruby era, I suppose you could call it. This somewhat earlier, a little Tourer, unofficially known as the Chummy. And staying with the little open top cars, we've got another example just over here. What looks like a trials car, modified Austin 7 special. Many things going on under the bonnet, and indeed there we've got the remote gear shift. Let's keep going around here. Now we've got the 680 and MO Oxford and Cowley Club. So the 680 was the Wolseley. These are magnificent. We've got a whole gaggle of Morris Isis cars here. So these were sold alongside, there was the Cowley, then slightly above that was the Oxford, which both had the 4-cylinder engines. Then there was the Isis, which was the top of the tree, much more chrome, longer front end. These had the 6-cylinder engine under the bonnet, so these were really quite plush cars. This one has the exterior sun visor, bench seating, pretty cool illustrations inside there, pretty jazzy, all these extra chrome bits along here. That really does look a treat. Another example alongside, so this one's two-tone, this one's single tone or monotone. There were a couple of different variations of the Isis produced over the years, but they weren't hugely different to each other. And I did look at one of these before I ended up buying the Buick.
If you want to sit in them, open.
Oh, thank you, cheers. I've just been given the okay to have a look inside. But yeah, I did have a look at one of these that was advertised for sale before I ended up buying the Buick, when I was looking for something with a large engine. And I really do like these 1950s BMC saloons, the Austins and the Morrises, so we've been given the okay to have a look in here. Really large car, plenty of seating, get 6 people in here at a push thanks to the bench seat. Quite a nice long bonnet as well. It really is super swish car. Like I say, a big lazy 6-cylinder engine that shuts just perfectly. And like I say, we've got another example just here as well. Beautiful leather interior, original carpets and mats. Very nice and wonderful smell. I wish you could smell what I can smell when I stick my head inside here. Lovely old leathery smell. Wonderful to see, super duper rare cars now. If we just go along here, we've got an Isis wagon, the traveller version of the Morris Isis, the estate car. So two-door, wood on the back, and there are very, very few of these left now. Again, six-cylinder, slightly different trim on the front compared to the other one that we were looking at a moment ago. So let's just have a quick look in here. It's a fold-down rear seat, as you would expect in an estate car. Yeah. Wow, isn't it? That is amazing. What a rare survivor. Look at the registration number on that. My 1515. My Isis. I do love a good saloon. But yeah, what a treat to see these four mega rare Isises here today at the NEC. It's probably quite a significant percentage of all the surviving Morris Isis cars, certainly here in the UK. And facing the Morris Isises, we have the Morris Register. So this is a 14.6 Series 3 from 1938. So late post-war. Quite the assortment of illumination. A fine pair of Lucas Hooters on the front. Proudly flying the flag there. We've got a 10.6 Special Tourer now from 1935. Wow. 43 known survivors of the 360 Special Sports chassis produced. Straight 6, 1378cc twin carb engine. So in the 1930s, quite a few manufacturers came up with small capacity 6-cylinder engines. I think it was probably a ruse to get round the road tax arrangements of the time, which were based on the cylinder bore of the car. And we'll just go around here, past this glamorous young lady here in period gear, and we've got a Morris 8, the Series 1 two-door Morris 8 saloon. Look at that. Oh, I do like a few period bits and bobs on the back seat of an old car. Look at that radio, the old wireless set. A copy of the Daily Sketch. Flat cap, of course, de rigueur for any day out in the countryside in your motor car. Yeah. This one's in beautiful condition. Got the luggage rack extended down with case as well. Yeah, the Morris 8, 1936. So these replaced the original Morris Minors, really, or the Morris Family 8, which the elongated Morris Minors became. Chrome rads, spoked wheels on the Series 1s. The Series 2 that came along a little bit later had the plain disc wheels and a painted radiator surround. This is one of the earlier cars. Many bits and bobs for sale. So if you need some pre-war Morris parts, you know where to come. Right, let's carry on over this way, past that wonderful assortment of Isis saloons and the Traveller. See what else we can spot. Oh, we've got a little Morris Minor two-seater. Long-termers on the channel will remember I had a green one of these. A little two-seat Tourer, but only ever advertised as the two-seater. I think these were £100 when they came out. This looks like a 32. It's the same radiator surround as ours, which was a 1932. The radiator surrounds did change over the years slightly. I'm pretty sure this is a 32. Doesn't say, but I think it is. In fact, I've just noticed something. This is our old Morris Minor from 1932, DH9458. This is it. Wow. Fancy that. I honestly didn't realise that this A had been restored and B was going to be here today. I saw that little sternal sticker in the top of the windscreen, and I remember that because I put that on it a few years ago now. That was an old stock sticker that I had, but yeah, this is my old car. DH9458. There you go. Great to see it all done and dusted. I certainly wasn't expecting to stumble across my old Morris Minor here today. Right, this is a vintage Austin Register. More Morris Minor action over here. Now I'm conscious of the fact that I'm still only in the first hall. Got Austin 16 here, magnificent Austin 16. Like I say, thanks for sticking with this video. I know it's going to be a bit of a long one. Maybe it's probably best suited to be watched over several days.
But even them, you see.
The Austin 6. Oh, the Austin 18 Norfolk. Right, okay. That's what we're looking at there. It's a little 10 Cambridge there from 1938. 16 Hartford from 1935, this particular car. So this was sort of like a transition era where by this point in time Austin had switched to the painted radiator surrounds as opposed to the chrome rads, but was still on the spoked wheels. They hadn't yet fully transferred across to the plain disc easy clean wheels. Let's just squeeze through here. Another little Austin 10-4 chrome rad car, 1934, so the last year of the chrome rad 10-4 before the Litchfield came along. This is a magnificent Austin 20 Mayfair limousine from 1936. And this has the painted radiator surround and the easy clean disc wheels that I was just talking about a moment ago. Wow, what a spectacular interior in there. What a beauty. Right, let's carry on around here. Everything from Toyota Celica convertible to the Fintail Merc, the old Heck Flosser Mercedes-Benz S-Class, that from 1965. Vauxhall PA Cresta, black and grey edition. Wonderful cars, such American-inspired styling. Austin 10 Ruby, DKJ 716. Scimitar. The Midget and Sprite Club now. This one much modified. Very different body on it. This the original Austin Healey Sprite Mark 1. Yeah. That's a pretty whizzy looking car. The Sebring Sprite from 1959. Round arch midget just alongside it. Yeah. What a groovy car. Tilt forward bonnet, very similar to that fitted to the Spitfire, which of course was rival to the MG Midget and the early Sprites. The Marina 700 weight van. That is a rare survivor now. Austin Allegro. Various Marinas and Itals, including just the Crayford convertible. I think it probably is. Or is it Mumford? There was the Mumford, which was also a coach builder. Yeah, this is the Mumford, yeah. The Mumford convertible, produced by Plymouth dealer W. Mumford Limited. Well, the Marina convertible concept was engineered by Crayford. But Mumford did the production conversions like you see here. Of course, the Ital that replaced the Morris Marina. Here we've got quite a whizzy looking Marina coupe with many stripes. This the LE Posh edition, complete with vinyl roof and jazzy stripes, snazzy wheels, and the little A-series engine tucked away under the bonnet. We can trace its roots back all the way to the 803 engine fitted to the Austin A30. Bit of Maestro action alongside the Van den Plas 1500. Talking of VDP 1500s, we've got a couple more examples over the way here. This an open top VDP 1500 no less. I'm guessing this is possibly Crayford conversion. Bit of fresh air motoring for the Allegro enthusiast, although they were never actually sold as Allegros back in the day. Fairly late Rover Montego there. MG Maestro, circa 1984. Rightio, let's carry on. Royal Mail van there. MG Montego. More Van den Plas action here, the little VDP 1300. Now, is this the 4 litre R or is it the 3 litre Princess? I can never tell. It's 1967. The way to look is round the back because they have very different rear lights. This is a 4 litre R with the horizontal rear light treatment, which was unique to these cars. R because it was actually a Rolls-Royce design engine that was fitted under the bonnet of these particular cars. Super swish interior. I did buy one of these many years ago. Auto box, so the big Farina, poshest really of all the Farinas, the big Farinas that were produced over the years. Right, a bit of Rover P6 action here. Those earlier Rovers, I think we saw some of this before, the Rover Sports Register, nice Rover 2000 there, very pale yellowy colour. Many parts. I can't see me getting around the auto jumble area today. Rover 800 fastback just here. Citroen traction of all. So these both Slough built cars, right hand drive, so built under licence from Citroen themselves, built in Slough. The chevrons behind the grille on the UK built cars. On the French cars the chevrons are on the outside. That's the main way of telling them apart from the fact the UK cars are right hand drive. Very swish cars, produced in various sizes over the years. Traction of all for front wheel drive, which was quite the thing back in the day. Lovely split window VW campers just here. Here we have a French assembled car, and yep, chevrons on the outside of the grille. Staying with Citroens, I love the old De Chevaux, various examples of Citroen 2CV here today. In fact, I've just produced a Citroen 2CV calendar, which you'll find over on the Contrado store. There's a link to that in the pinned comment at the top of the comment section on this video, and indeed in the description. There's nearly 30 different calendars now on offer there, wall calendars, and yeah, one of the most recent ones I added was for the Citroen 2CV. In fact, one sold just yesterday evening. Right, VW Golf. Slightly later cars over here. We've got the Renault Alpine Owners Club. There's a dimmer modified Peugeot 205. A 106 Rally. These are super popular, these are. Peugeot's at 204 or 304. That's the 304 Cabriolet. Great colour. Do like that. Earlier Alpine A110s here. It's getting pretty busy around here. We've got Drive Tribe. They've got a stall over the way here. Various interviews taking place over on the stage here throughout the day. Let's just keep going. Right, yes, Meet the Experts is over there. Let's just keep going. Wheeler dealers are here too. There's Mr. Brewer. Let's keep going this way, it's pretty busy. Right. I spy classic Renaults over this way, so must make sure I get to feature some of those. So what have we got over this way? We've got the little Renault 10. So this was an evolution of the 4CV that we used to have, really. The Renault 16, very handsome car, 5-door hatch. This one from 1970. The little Renault 8, just like the 10, also rear-engined, and again an evolution of the old 4CV. The Renault Dauphine, that's pretty cool. Okay. Oh, let's have a quick peer inside. The little Renault 8, yeah, very nice too. Oh, look at that, very sporty steering wheel. Wow. Yeah, very similar to our 4CV in terms of lots of painted metal around. Yeah, super clean and tidy. Oh, we've got the engine round the back here. So what CC is this one then? 1100, right. So this is a slightly enlarged version of the engine that was in our 4CV, because that was 748. But very similar arrangement with the radiator in front of the engine over there. The engine inline 4-cylinder. Yeah, what a little cracker. Yeah, pretty cool to see all these Renaults here today. A 21 turbo. And look at this, the Renault 30TX. That is, well, I know I keep saying that's a rare car, but that is a seriously rare car. I think there's someone just going on the stage now, so I think we'll head off in the opposite direction. It's going to get pretty noisy down there. Got Renault 18 GTS. The Talbot Alpine, the 5-door Alpine hatch. A bit more Citroen action over here. Magnificent DS, the DS, the Goddess. Got a Citroen GS Estate, or Break, as it would have been called. That's a rare old girl. Look at this, the Maserati engined Citroen SM. About 2.6 or 2.7 litre Maserati V6, 1970 to 1975. I actually got some brochures for one of these off a gentleman that lives not too far away from us, and he bought one of these new back in the 1970s, so he must have cut quite a dash when you were belting around in one of these. Right, let's carry on. Rover 75 Club here. Metros, MGZT, the Talbot Matra Rancho. I don't see many of those around anymore. Chrysler Alpine there. Well, remember those back in the 1970s. I think Richard Hammond's up on the stage at the moment. Matra here, Matra Bagheera. Bit of a project for someone there. That needs a bit of a TLC. We've got loads of lowered modified cars there, so we've got some Naylor kit cars there based on the MGTF. Classic Fiat now. Fiat Panda. The Seat Marbella, which is a Spanish license built version of the Fiat Panda. Look at this, the Fiat Strada, the Mark 1 I think Strada. This I think is the 105 TC, the tuned up version. Yeah, 105 TC. What did the advert say? Designed by humans, built by robots, or something like that. I always remember these very distinctive door handles when these came out back in the 1970s, but such a rare sight now. Fiat 124 Spider, beautiful example. Very similar colour to RX 308 Jag that I'm in today. Look at this Fiat. Wow, that really is a lovely car. Left-hand drive. 4-seat open tourer. hooter just poking through the bulkhead there. Would have had a little rubber bulb on the end there. Rare sight. I had wondered about getting a mirror like this to fit on top of the spare wheel on our 31 Buick. It's quite a clever way of fitting a mirror without having to drill into the bodywork. You just attach it to the top of the spare wheel on the mounted on the running board stroke front wing. Yeah, left-hand drive Fiat. Look at these wonderful door handles. So what is that? Polished wood? I think it could be. Very. I've never seen door handles like that before. Beautiful quality, actually. Lovely plated instrument arrangement on the dash. Staying with Fiat, we've got a gaggle of Fiat X19s, the little mid-engine sports cars brought out in the 1970s. Alfa Romeo, Alfa Surd, Alfa 75, 40th anniversary of the Alfa Romeo 75. Classic Lancia Beta Monte Carlo action just over here. Can't believe I'm still just in the first hall. Wow, look at this. Beautiful Lancia. Is this a Lambda? Very short engine block. Look at that, you get the engine and the gearbox under the opening bonnet. A great engine accessibility. Yeah, this is a Lambda. It's an 8th series Lambda, a Tipo 214. Wow. What a super looking car. V4 engine, 2 cylinders this side, 2 over on the other. Hence, that's why it's such a short engine, because it's 2x2 rather than 4 in line. What a magnificent car. Various Lancia Betas along there, including the HPE, which was the estate version. Some of those were supercharged as well. The Volume X versions were supercharged, as I remember. Lancia Aurelia, I think. Yeah, Aurelia 4th series. Very stylish. Beautiful little car. Delta HF Integrale, front wheel drive V4 powered Lancia Fulvia. This is an original UK market car, right hand drive. Different front wings compared to the home market Italian left hand drive cars. Right, let's just keep going. MGSV Club here. Various MG ZS's, ZT's along the way, just round here. Let's go this way, I think. Lancia Stratos, could be an original, could be one of the Hawk recreations, which are very convincing. This is an LB Specialist Cars STR, so it's one of the other recreations of the fabulous Lancia Stratos. Originally designed by Bertoni with rallying very much in mind. I well remember these. Incredible shape. Look at the wraparound screens on these. Amazing looking cars. Right. MGB GT V8. Garden furniture. MG Magnet. VW Cabriolet, one of the proper Carman converted cars. A little Metro there. Mini glistening under the lights here. in the NEC, the National Exhibition Centre, just outside Birmingham I am today. Morris pickup with a twin cam Ford engine in it. Back to Spridgets and Sprites. There we go, Sprites. This is a special bodied, Italian bodied Innocenti Spider based on Spridget running gear. So that's a very unusual car. I seem to remember seeing this one last year, possibly here again. Right. Riley RMs, we saw one before. Now we're on the RM Club stand. Again, lots and lots of effort. Ooh, 2.5 litre this one. Yeah, loads of effort's gone into this stand as well. Now it's the Wolseley Register. Last time I saw the Wolseley Register was just a few weeks ago down at Stoneleigh at the Restoration Show. There's a video of that elsewhere on this, the Old Classic Car channel. Wolseley 690, I think, this one. Yep, Wolseley 690. Very similar looking to the 444, just a bit bigger, a bit longer, bigger car altogether. Lovely bench seating. Looks very agreeable and comfortable in there. Bonnie, little Wolseley Hornet, I like that kind of thing. And the Wolseley version of the Leyland Princess. Wowzers, that's a rare old girl. The Wolseley 1822. Wow. What about this beauty? This was very similar to a car that I was looking at in the Brightwell's auction just a few weeks ago. That was a Wolseley 10. This is a Wolseley 11/22. These were built from 1924 to 1928. This one dates to 925. Not a great little car. I do love this era of car. Mid-1920s. Just so charismatic. Interesting how far forward the axle beam is. Usually it's hidden underneath the front of the car, but on this, the radiator is set quite a long way back, exposing all the front axle to the front there. What a bonny little car that is. Right, yep, that's the vintage Austin register stand with some magnificent cars. Austin A30s and A35s here, various, including what is actually a really rare A35 Countryman. You don't see too many of these around. So it utilised the van body shell, but minus the vent in the roof, which the van had. And these have factory-fitted sliding rear side windows. Lots of people converted their regular vans into homemade Countrymen. It was a bit of a tax dodge at the time, but this, I think, is one of the official factory A35 Countrymen. Slightly modified A35 here with twin SU carbs. A35 saloon and a little A30 van. That's pretty unusual. Most of the vans you see are A35s, but this is an A30. A30 500-weight delivery van. There we go. Complete with proper wooden ladders on the roof. I like that kind of thing. And facing it, we have the Austin 7 Club. And a wonderful assortment of the original Austin 7s here. And in fact, we've got a Pathfinder here. So these were produced from 49 to 1950. And my youthful assistant is in the middle of piecing one of these back together. In fact, the paint came for it just the other day. But yeah, these were sold alongside, I think, the J40, but the J40 was produced right the way until the early 1970s. Produced at a purpose-built factory in South Wales. But these were only sold for a year or so. These were inspired by the original Lotus 7, Lotus 7? Austin 7, the Austin 7 twin cam racer. And you can clearly see the family resemblance. What a little cracker that is. Next to that, Austin 7 van. The Austin 7s were put to all sorts of uses little racers, commercials, as we see here, tourers, saloons, bit of everything really. Here we have a very early little Austin 7 saloon. So this is 1928, right, so the Chummy, so we've got the Chummy alongside. This is a fairly early Chummy. These were brought out in 1922, and in 1926 the saloon version was introduced and sold alongside it, the Austin 7R as it was called. Yeah, so these came out originally in 1926. The Austin 7 sold in huge numbers and really was the saviour in many ways of the Austin Motor Car Company, motoring for the masses. And so it proved to be lots of other rival manufacturers were caught on the hop, and it took Morris a little while to catch up. Eventually they brought out the little Morris Minor, the little side valve Morris Minor, but Austin certainly got a head start on them, and the success, the reliability and indeed the quality of the Austin 7s saw off many of the small cycle car manufacturers that popped up in the late teens and the early 1920s. They simply couldn't compete with these mass-produced beauties that you see here, built over at Longbridge, not all that far from where I'm stood today. So yeah, little Chummy alongside it, a fairly early example of the box saloon. Right. Have the Land Crab Owners Club, the Austin Morris 1800s and the larger 2200s. Ooh, look at this, the Austin Counties Car Club. And the first car we see is this wonderful Austin A40 Tourer. I used to have a black Austin Devon, the four-door saloon, but this is the super rare open-top Tourer. This was an Australian market car, so presumably this one has been imported at some point in time. I don't think these were ever sold here in the UK originally. So these are two doors, a bit like the Dorset Saloon, which you hardly ever see either. That dash is very similar to the one that was also in the A40 Somerset. The Somerset came along and replaced the Devon era of cars in the early 1950s. Our Devon Saloon was a 1949 car. Presumably it's still around somewhere. And look at this, Austin Somerset Drophead Coupe. Wow. So not only have we got the Devon era of Tourer, we've also got the slightly later A40 Somerset open top car. What a treat. And over there is the Austin A90 Atlantic Drophead Coupe, and this was its smaller brother, which had the same pre-B Series 1200cc four-cylinder engine as was fitted to the A40 Devon. These had column shift. Devons were floor change, although the Devon-based vans and pickups did switch from floor to column change when the Somerset Saloon came on stream in about, when was that, about 52 or 53, something like that. But yeah, this A40 Somerset Coupe, introduced February 1952. There we go. And yes, here we have the Austin, the mighty Austin A90 Atlantic, designed very much with the American market in mind. There were fixed head versions, there were open top drop head coupes like this. And this was at a time when it was all about exporting cars to the four corners of the globe to bring in much needed finances into the country following the Second World War, export or die and all that. And indeed allocations of steel were allocated based on the potential for export of the cars that were going to be produced using it, because steel was in very short supply following the Second World War. I think it's fair to say that the Americans didn't really take to these cars, even though they were dripping in chrome just like their contemporary American cousins. They didn't really take off over there because fuel was cheap in America, so people just tended to buy the homegrown products, the Buicks, the Chevys, the Fords, that kind of thing. And these never really took off in any real great numbers. There's no doubting. Certainly quite stylish looking cars. Look at that incredible dash. And the radio built into the centre there. The twin flying A's. So everyone else had to make do with a single flying A on the bonnet, but the Atlantic owner, they had two flying A's and this incredible assortment of strips up the bonnet, just like the old Pontiacs. The American Pontiacs had very similar trim arrangements up the centre of the bonnet. Yeah. Survivors of these are few and far between. Right, now the Wolseley Hornet Special Club. Some beautiful cars on here, I can see already. Two-seater here, the Wolseley Hornet, so 1930s, 6-cylinder engine. And this is an incredible one-off. Someone with rather a lot of skill has created this incredible one-off fixed-head coupe based on Wolseley Hornet's running gear. What an amazing job of that. What an incredible shape. Look at the back of it. Wow. That reminds me of the dorsal fins that you sometimes got on the old coaches. Or a Tatra perhaps. What an amazing looking car that is. Certainly cosy, very low. Very low roofline. Yeah, 6-cylinder engine hiding under that long bonnet. What an amazing looking car. The Wolseley Hornet Special here. Swallow-bodied Hornet Special from 1932. What a lovely car that is. Beautiful. Good to see lots of pre-war cars here today. I do love a pre-war car. Just the quality, it's just so different compared to much of the post-war cars. Eustace Watkins Limited, so they're responsible for the very rakish coachwork on this particular two-door saloon. So the rear seat passengers way behind the rear axle on this. So there must be a decent amount of legroom. Actually, there isn't actually. It's quite cosy in there, but yeah, look at the rear seat squad is way back behind the rear axle. That's quite unusual. Right, now I'm pretty sure we're almost done in this hall. We've got some more American car action here on the Classic American magazine stand. Modified Morris Minors. Chester Cars and Coffee Breakfast Club meet. Oh, there's a meeting I've never actually got to. Austin Mini Cooper S. Jaguar XJR, so that's the supercharged 6-cylinder XJR. Porsche 911, and the lowered 3 Series, one of the E36 BMW 3 Series in our favourite colour, just over here. Yeah, Chester Cars and Coffee. Let's try and get across to that one day. Right, so now in the restoration hall, there's all manner of displays, demonstrations of restoration techniques, also other car clubs as well, including the Young Retro Motor Club. There's a restoration workshop going on just over the way there. Skoda Club just tucked away right in front of me here. Quite the variety of classic Skodas here. Rear engine cars, later favourites including this estate here. It's like a BMW E9, one of the E9 coupes. Much later engine, I suspect. Swallow Doretti. There's a rare girl. That's based on Triumph TR running gear. Very handsome looking car indeed. 1954. Yours for £87,500. Land Rover chassis. These are lovely looking cars. These, yeah, based on TR4 running gear. Those side strips down the side. Boring fact, they're off an A40 Devon. Right. A bit of a resto modded E9 there. Some restoration techniques over the way here.
Stop with one aggressive and jump to the next. Once we've done that, so our painting we were going to use, our primer said you had to finish it in 180 to 240.
Let's keep going past all these great old Skodas. Cortina Mark II Deluxe there. Saab Owners Club. Here we go. Saab 900 Carlson. So named after Eric Carlson, the very famous Swedish rally driver who married Pat Moss, Sterling Moss's sister, Pat Moss Carlson, as she became known thereafter. Yeah, 2 900 Carlsons, they're pretty cool. Yeah, you're right, yeah. Is your car over in the Pride of Ownership? I thought I saw it when I was reading online, yeah.
If you want to cast your vote, you can come over.
I'll come and have a look. I'll come and have a look in a bit. Right, the gentleman there, he's got a lovely collection of early Saabs. Hopefully we'll see his Saab 96 in the Pride of Ownership area just a little bit later. Bull nose here, the little 3-cylinder 2-stroke Saab. This one we saw just the other day in Staffordshire, one of the high street meets that we went to. It's a lowered Saab 95. So the 95 was basically the estate car version of the 96. Takes me back to the bullnose van that I rescued from behind the Saab garage in Hazel Grove 35 years ago. Stunning Saab 93 here. Right, now let's get a wriggle on because battery number 2 of 3 is already starting to show signs of getting low, and there is so much more to see. Let's just see if we can get across here and have a look at this Volvo limo. Look at this incredible machine. Looks a bit like a scaled up Volvo PV. What is this? PV831, King Gustav VI of Sweden's royal car from 1953. Wow. PV831. Wow, what a thing. Nordic Rides, the Swedish car club over here, Volvo 145, the estate, the 850, the C70 Coupe. Let's keep going. There's a Volvo, see a Volvo 164 over there, just like the one we used to have. We'll have a look at that later. So I want to get over to Hall 8 because there are lots and lots. Ooh, look at this. Volvo P1900, I think this is. I think this is the sole example of the Volvo P1900 here in the UK, 1956 to 1957 only. What a rarity. What a fantastic thing. So let's have a look around here. It's kind of busy. Volvo P1900, again, that's a car I've never ever clapped eyes on before. What a rarity. I think I'll have to have a closer look at this one. The oldest Volvo I ever had was a PV 444, which I think was 1953, I think. So a similar era to this. And this swoopy open top car, so much rarer even than that. Wow. A Bond mini car, this the van version, Mark G Ranger. An assortment of three-wheel Bonds here today. Fairly sure that's a Villiers engine hung out the front. Yeah. Mark G Estate from 1965. What do we have here? A little Bond-based race car. Wow, I love that. What a great little thing. So, front wheel drive, cast wheels. The Bond Type C racing car of 1948. Wow. I never knew such a thing even existed. A JAP engine. A little Bond to keep here, so based on the Triumph Herald. Yeah, what a treat to see this great little single seat race car. Wow. Yeah, as I think I was saying before, my idea is to head across to Hall 8, which is over the back there, because that's where all the classic Fords are hidden. Triumph Roadster Club here, some real beauties here, post-war cars, shades of the old Bergerac TV series, classic Vauxhalls, another PA Cresta, another similar car here. I think that's a PB Cresta. Bit of everything, the Vauxhall Viscount, big 3.3 litre engine in that beauty. Cavaliers, various, and indeed Vauxhall Chevette. Triumph Renowns alongside the Roadsters. 3 Renowns here today. Similar era and probably rival to like the Riley RMs, some of the Armstrong Sidleys in those post-war years. Early Cavalier with Chevettes alongside, including an estate version. Loads and loads of auto jumble here today. I can't see me getting round to that. This was for sale. I saw this at Bicester. I remember seeing at least one very much like it. Oodles of auto jumble over the way, but my priority today is the cars, or are the cars rather. More Vauxhall Chevette action here, including, is that a van? It is, the Chevan. 4-door saloon version as well, hatchback there. The Auto Barnstormers, we've got a Lotus Carlton GSI as well. Vauxhall Calibra, a turbo version of the Vauxhall Calibra, several Calibras here today. Chevette HSR tucked away alongside the Droop Snoot Vauxhall. Messerschmitt Owners Club. That's a funny looking one there. Can't say I've ever clapped eyes on one of those before. The Fendt Flitzer. Vauxhall Vivas, HC, the HA Viva, the Bedford HA van, the HB Viva, two-door HB Viva there. There's a great little camper based on the HA. This one by Martin Walter, this particular camper conversion. I think they were based down in Folkestone, if memory serves. Reliant Scimitars, the GTC, the SS1 from the mid-1980s. Viva HB Estate. A bit more HA action over there, but I want to go down this way because this is where the main Ford clubs are based, I think. There's also quite a few classic minis here in Hall 8, including a super little police van here on the British Mini Club stand. How cool is that? Like I say, I'll try and feature as many cars as I possibly can. And I've got a feeling I'm going to be limited a little bit by battery life. I've got 3 long life batteries with me. But even that, I don't think is going to be sufficient. So I'll do what I can. And if I miss out your favourite car or club stand, I can only apologise. If anyone's got any spare batteries they no longer use, suitable for one of these DJI Action 4 cameras, much welcome a donation. Right, it's got more mini action up there. Some BMW era minis. Of course, these were originally a Rover design, and then BMW took them over and ran with it. Some Transits, Ford Transit, Transit Super Van. Is this the original one? Engine tucked away under the floor, I think. Oh, there it is, over there. Nice. So what's this? Is this a Taunus estate? Yeah. Ford Taunus, or Taunus, I guess it's probably pronounced. The German market Fords. The Capri Piranhas. Scimitar Coupe. The Consul Classic. Capri, rather. The Consul Capri, isn't it? Yeah. The Consul Classic, we've got a 2-door one of those alongside, with a Consul Capri just over the way here. (1600E) Owners Club, Cortina Mark II, the posh version of the Ford Cortina. Got some very plush looking Ford Escort Mark 1s along here. The Ford Escort 1300E Owners Club. This is an Owners Club just for the posh ones. So these were sort of the poshest of the Escorts, not the performance Escorts, but just the plushest with metallic paint, high spec interior. Lots going on under the bonnet of that one. Lots of Mark II Escorts here today as well. The Rothmans liveried RS2000. Cortina Mark 1. RS2000, GXL there, the really upmarket Mark III Cortina, 4-door, Alan Mann Racing Escort, much modified 100E, by gum. Oh, memories of owning one of these Ludlow Green V8 Pilots up until just a few months ago. As regulars to the channel, you'll no doubt remember we had one of these with a flathead V8 in it. Ludlow green is this colour, this one, and quite a few of the ones I've seen got Marshall headlamps on them. There's quite a big gathering of these last year down at Gaydon for the big Ford rally that goes on down there. Ford Model A behind me. Yeah, identical to the one we had. Great cars, based on the mid-30s model 62, I think, but with a different front end to more suit the UK buyer. Good afternoon, madam. Right, and we've got a pilot pickup. Whoa, look at that. How cool is that? Loads of Fords everywhere we look. Mark 1 Zephyr 6. Something different going on under there. Same goes for that one. This one looks somewhat more original. 3% battery life. Just enough to have a look at the front of this pilot's pickup, and this glorious little Fordson BB from 1937 in the livery of Watney's, the beer company. What a little cracker that is. This was at the Ford Rally, I think even this year, I think, if I remember correctly. And it was definitely one of my favourite vehicles there. The 8-cylinder Fordson, so it's got the flathead V8, very similar to that fitted to the V8 Pilot. And next to it we have the Ford Side Valve Owners Club with an assortment of 100Es, Ford Pops, quite a rare E93A Ford Prefect. They were built either side of the Second World War, and down to 2% on this battery, just enough to have a look at this lovely little Ford E83W pickup truck. I've had a few of these. In fact, I still run the website for the E83Ws, e83w.co.uk. I love these little things. I've bought quite a few of those over the years, rescued them from various different places. A little Ford Escort. So this was the original use of the Escort name. That was the estate car version of the Ford 100E. A little Ford Anglia. We had one of these, if you remember, just until 2 or 3 years back. We had a fawn grey Ford Anglia E494A, and that's what we're looking at here. This is a non-standard colour scheme, but otherwise looks pretty standard. The body would go on to be used in the Ford Pop 103E, which had a slightly larger engine but a more basic interior. Right, let's carry on our trawl around. Good to see the assortment of Ford Capris that are here today. Sierra's over the way, and here the Y&C register, the register for the Ford Model Y, the Model C, the CX and derivatives of. So the Model Y had the 8-horse engine, 933cc, the Model C and later the CX, and there's an example of a CX alongside here. These had the 10-horse 1172cc engines, which would go on to feature in the post-war Sit-Up and Beg. Ford Pops was also in the Prefect, Sit-Up and Beg Prefects, E83Ws, all that kind of thing. But yeah, nice to see these cars here today, and a Model Y van. Cool, look at that, what a little cracker that is. So we're on the Model A Ford stand here, facing an assortment of Escorts, etc. Reminds me of the Model AA truck that we had until just a few years ago, much missed truck from 1930. It shared the 3.3 litre engine of the Model A saloon, but the rest of the running gear was beefed up in the AA truck compared to the Model A cars, which we can see examples of here. Right. Yep. Lots of Escorts and Cortinas. I'm on the last battery now, so I'm going to have to be a little bit more economical with my filming. But I'll just try and show a glimpse of as much as possible. Right. RS Turbo, Sapphire Cosworth. Right. Now the Ford Corsair Club, they always put on an excellent display here and also at the Restoration Show, which is in March, I think. Also here at the NEC. So we've got an assortment of Corsairs here today. This one re-engined. Normally you would see the V4 engine tucked away, but that is not a V4 engine. Right. Let's have a look. So we've got the RS 2000s just across the way. Rightio. Right, I think now we'll head back in the general direction of the main halls. Let's see what we can see over there. There's the classic car auction area. There's loads and loads of cars for sale here as well. Whether I'll get round all of them, I'm not entirely sure. Like I say, I am in voltage conservation mode at the moment. Plus, I can't have this video running along for 4 or 5 hours. But if this video gives you just a bit of an overview of what you'll find here, that's the NEC Classic Car Show, or Classic Motor Show, as it's actually called, then that will be job done really. Cortinas, Ford Anglias, including a convertible. Wow. Great little Anglia there. Estate version here. The base model Anglia from 1963. Again, with a twin cam engine in it. Fords have always lent themselves to being modified, and there's plenty of modified Fords here today. Right, let's crack on. Right, we appear to be surrounded by classic standard Triumph products. There's a lovely Phase 2 version of the standard Vanguard. So the 1s and the 1As were the Beetleback cars. These were the more traditional shaped standard Vanguards with the pronounced boot, as you can see here. Some early Triumphs just over the way here on the pre-1940 Triumph Motor Club stand. Standard Flying Light 12. So it's a pre-war car. What year is this? 1937. It's had quite a lot of work done to that one. And we've got a little standard 10 van. Isn't that just a little belter? This standard 8, we saw this one at the Stoneleigh restoration show just a few weekends ago. These vans are very bonny indeed. I do like these. And this, yeah, well, we sold our little standard 8 and replaced it with a Triumph Herald 1250 in the last few months. I do have a soft spot for the old Triumphs. There's the old style jack. I would have been supplied with all these cars as standard equipment. If you remember seeing the Stoneleigh video, there was a couple of really rare examples of the estate car version, the companion versions of the standard 10. Right. The Triumph Sport 6 Club, TR7s, the TR Drivers Club, just over the way here. Auto Jumble is that way. Much modified Vitesse. Look at that. Ooh, triple Webers. That looks like it means business. Pretty whizzy looking tyres as well. Let's carry on this way. Immaculate Vitesse, bonnet up. Super clean example, this one. Triumph Stag, complete with factory hardtop. And over here, Triumph Spitfire Mark II on the C-Reg, so 1965. So this is a model before the one I had a Mark III many moons ago, back in the 1980s. I pieced it back together from a £25 wreck. This one is in way better condition than mine ever was, although it is still around, has been restored twice since I sold it in the early 1990s, so that's quite nice. KED 453F is the registration of my old Mark III Spitfire. Back in the 1960s, my uncle bought one of these, the Spitfire 4 Mark II. This was green, ended up being written off. So pretty cool to see this one here. So they're very similar to the Mark III that came along later, but they had slightly higher bumpers. Higher bumper at the front as well. Club Triumph here. Yeah. Club Triumph. I think the former owner of my 1250 is a big fan of these Triumphs, and I think is quite involved with the Club Triumph organisation. We've got two examples there. We've got examples down here as well of the front wheel drive 1300s, Triumph Dolomites just over that away. Yeah, lots and lots of the front wheel drive 1300s here today, plus Spitfires, Heralds, and much, much more. More classic Triumphs over here. Just had a meet up with the previous former owner, long-term owner of the little Herald 1250, so I was able to get some really useful background info on it. Nice to catch up with the old owner as well. There's some wonderful, wonderful Triumphs on display here. I can't see any Herald 1250s. I have seen photos of our old Herald here at NEC events going back a year or three. Right, I think we'll head off in this general direction. Quite a few different TRs, different ages here. Well, there is one of the Dove fastbacks. As I mentioned when we were looking at this Sunbeam Harrington, this was another coupe conversion of a one-time open top car, the TR4 Dove, the GTR4. And again, you can see where the replacement roof joined to the original Triumph body shell, and makes for a very, very handsome car indeed, I think. Right, I'll try and keep out this gentleman's photograph. Right, let's keep going down here. I don't think I'll get round the jumble today, that's pretty huge. Not sure what's behind this big white wall, but right, let's carry on. There's still plenty to see here at the NEC Classic Car Show. Right. Ooh, lots and lots of temptation tucked away over here. Oh. Must be strong. Must be strong. Right. Okay, next up the Jowett Car Club, and this very special, unusually bodied Jowett Jupiter from the early 1950s. Very, very different. Of course, on a regular Jupiter, the whole front end tilts to get at the engine, but this just has a more conventional bonnet and the fixed wings. Yeah, very unusual car. About 1951, I think, this one. It is certainly a rare, rare sight. Let's just have a quick look here. 1951. So a number of coach builders took on the Jowett chassis. So this was Coachcraft in Egham. Took delivery of 3 Jupiter chassis. What a rare survivor that is. And this is the conventional factory offering alongside it. We've even got a race prepared Jowett Jupiter over the way here. Wowzers, that looks a bit special. Look at this. So there's a fairing over where the passenger seat would have been at one time. A little racy aero screen here too. All the Jowetts built up at Idle in Bradford in Yorkshire. These, the Jupiters, and indeed the Javelins, the saloons. Right, let's carry on. We've got the Historic Marathon Rally Group, so a whole gaggle of historic rally cars here. Escorts, in this case. The Daily Mirror World Cup Rally, London to Mexico City. It's amazing how many of these original old rally cars survive. They certainly lived quite the life, many of them reshelled multiple times. This one, World Cup Rally, again, London to Mexico, FEV 18, that's a very famous escort rally car, that particular car. Next up, the Daimler SP250 Owners Club. These rakish fiberglass bodied Daimlers, designed in the late 1950s, early 1960s, produced by Daimler, and indeed later, when under Jaguar ownership, Jaguar did undertake a number of revisions just to improve the quality slightly. Some of the early cars were a bit prone to doors pinging open. There was quite a lot of flex in the body and the chassis on the early cars, so Jaguar did do an element of re-engineering, continuing with the production of these for a little while before pulling the plug altogether in the early 1960s and not replacing it. So the 2.5 litre Edward Turner designed V8 engine under the bonnet. Edward Turner, originally involved with the British motorcycle industry. Got a special here based on a 63 Daimler SP250, quite a rakish looking motor car. Pretty wild looking car. If you took the badges off, you wouldn't really guess that was going to be a Daimler. Daimler hitherto had been quite well known for quality sort of limousines, quality saloons, that kind of thing. But it's not a name you normally associate with sports cars and GTs.
Jack Barkley.
Various other clubs around here. The XJS Club celebrating, it's like 50 years. Can you believe it? 50 years of the Jaguar XJS. This is the XJSC, which is sort of like a semi-convertible before the full convertible was eventually offered. This, the coupe, alongside a Lister modified XJS V12. Got a couple of facelift cars here, one open top, one the closed coupe that we're looking at here. This, a fairly early XJ-S on a W plate. First cars came out in 1975. This one has got a manual box, so I'm guessing that must be a home conversion, because by the time of the W registration in the early 1980s, Jaguar were no longer offering the manual box option on the XJS. Right. Quite a gaggle of cars over there. Aston, a very prominent leaper on it. This is the Virage, I think. Look at this Healy. Now, there were several different coach builders bodied cars on Healy chassis. There's the Abbott and the Duncan as well. Now, which one is this? I'm not sure. They all kind of look fairly similar. Wow, look at that. It's a wooden shooting brake version of the Healy. Wow. Pretty wild. Aston Owners just over the way here. Metro 6R4 enthusiast, 6R4.net. Famous rally car there based on the Metro, designed with Group B rallying in mind. Z car there. 240Z. Got Spridget there. Racing Jaguar S-Type. I think there is something called the Podcast Cafe where various podcasters are recording. Yeah, there's a bit of recording going on over there. Right. Yeah, I think various podcasts are being recorded for YouTube, etc. over the way. There are also some other YouTubers dotted around, and they will be appearing on a Meet the Expert interview stage a little bit later on this afternoon. So I might go and have a look at that if I find myself over in that corner of the first hall. That Lost in 7 special tucked away just down here. Got the drop front axle similar to that fitted on the original Ulsters. Quite a bonny little car, that one. 4x4 Mini. Who remembers the old Twinny, which was a twin engine Mini? Formula Ford racer there. Peugeot 205 T16 alongside the Sunbeam Talbot and the Cortina, the Lotus Cortina Mark 1. I'd like to try and get round the auction area if I can. So we've got Turner's, Rochdale Olympic. So this is the Fairthorpe Sports Car Club, which is home to Fairthorpe's, Turner's and similar cars like that. I remember coming across one of these mouldering away on the driveway. I can't remember exactly where it was. There was a Fairthorpe and there was a Turner in front of it, and it had been sat there for many a year. Right. Mazda RX-8. Rotary engine. Talking of rotary engines, we've got the NSU R080. Now many of these were re-engined with Ford V4 engines because they weren't hugely reliable back in the 1970s. Many people ended up re-engining them just to keep their cars on the road. In fact, the story goes that owners, if they saw another R080 coming in the opposite direction, you'd hold up a number of fingers based on how many engines you'd had to change. So common were mechanical issues with this rotary engine. It's good to see this car has its original motor still in it. Quite a handsome looking car, I think. Good looking car, very advanced really for the day, but sadly not as reliable as perhaps it could or should have been. Various Jaguars here. We've got a C-Type Jaguar here. XKC 016. Wow. So this is the C-Type, or the XK120C as they were originally called. Now this, I think, is the pride of ownership area. So this is where owners vie to become overall champion. And we've got a bit of everything here. We've got the Mustang, that mini pickup, super rare little Metro 310 van. One of the sort of things that you used to see them pretty much everywhere, but they rotted away after just a few short years. This Saab 96, right, here we go. So this belongs to a gentleman that lives not a million miles from us, and even closer to my parents. Yeah, he's got this lovely 96. He's got a yellow 95 Estate, which has also appeared on the channel before now. He's got a turbocharged V4 96 as well. So, and he's got really original early 99. Yeah, he certainly likes his old Saabs, but this is in beautiful condition. Got the Ford V4 engine under the bonnet. What a belter. Right, let's carry on. Somewhat lowered Cortina Mark 1 over there. Renault 8. This is the Renault 8 Gordini. Lots and lots of immaculate cars here. All in beautiful condition. I wouldn't want to be judging this particular gathering of cars, the pride of ownership gathering, because, well, how would you choose? Look at this. I do love this. A Sunbeam Rapier. So this was based on the Hillman Minx, like the Singer Gazelle that we were looking at earlier on. Sunbeam Rapier was based basically on the Minx, but all muchly updated. This, the two-door coupe with pillarless open styling, so the rear side window folds down in there. And of course, you've got your door window as well. You get this lovely airy cabin when you've got all the windows down. Great little car, super popular in rallying, the Monte Carlo rally, that kind of thing in the late 1950s. Rapier. Extra little lamp on there. Just an immaculate car. Look how beautifully turned out that is. Wow. Nice old Lucas sticker as well. I like that kind of thing. this V-Dub now, this VW with all these accessories on, slammed to the floor. We've seen this at various different events over the last few years. But yeah, I really like the look of that. Right, let's carry on. Peugeot 205 with the dimmer body kit. The Citroen SM, the second one of those we've seen here today, a left-hand drive, manual box. Maserati V6 engine under that long, low, swoopy bonnet. Looks like this one gets around a bit. All the way down to the Alps back in 2020. Yeah, pretty mad car. Mark 1 Fiesta, glistening over there. Little Daihatsu Charade. Oh, GTTI. By gum. Twin cam, 12 valve turbo. Well, that would be a car that would be very difficult to restore now. Right. Where else should we go? Let's go this way, past the Lotus Register, the historic Lotus Register. Club Marcos International. That's a magnificent shirt. Not Mini Marcos or Mini Gem GT. Early ones of these had the Volvo engine, same as that fitted to the Volvo Amazon. If you think you've seen those bonnet catches before, well you have, because they're off a Triumph Herald. Right, now we've got Gilburn, the GT 1800 Gilburn, made in Wales. This the Gilburn Invader Estate. Oof. There's a practical shooting brake if ever I saw one. Right, let's go over here. Let's have a look. Bit of Toyota action. Toyota Celica GT. The Camry. Celicas. I know I'm going to miss something out walking around here. Celicas. The Mitsubishi Shogun and the Colt Celeste Coupe, 50th anniversary of the Mitsubishi Colt Celeste. Wow. Rare sight indeed. Let's keep going around here. GT Rally Edition. Now over the way, now this is something you don't tend to come across other than here. This is the Unipower GT, which is a mini-based car. And we've got 3 examples here on the owner's register stand. Wow, yeah, pretty cool looking cars. And talking of spot the part, if you think you've seen that windscreen surround somewhere before, well you have, because that windscreen surround is off the Mark 1 to Mark 3 Spitfire and also the TR4, 5 and 6. So that's where that one came from. The whole assembly and bolts. Yeah, pretty groovy cars, these Unipowers. The transverse A series in the tail there. Very, very low as well. I mean, crikey. Great to see 3 of these super rare mini-based sports cars here today. Wow. Right. Onwards. On the final battery now. Various Z cars. Such a handsome looking car, I think they are. Really, really cool. 300 ZXs. Some Subarus and Nissan Skylines that away. Toyota MR2s. And demonstrating their gull wing stainless steel doors, we have a trio of DeLorean DMC-12s built in Northern Ireland in the early 1980s. John DeLorean behind this. Much of the engineering was by Lotus. Didn't entirely go to plan. Had the PRV V6 engine in the tail. Yeah, pretty much unique in having brushed stainless steel coachwork I have seen a painted one somewhere, but the vast majority that you see, actually there's 4 of them. I tell a lie, there are 1, 2, 3, 4 DeLoreans here today, including this Back to the Future spec example tucked away over here, again showing off its gull wing doors. Right. Ginetta's various tucked away over here, and I must admit I do particularly like these earlier Ginettas, especially these swoopy ones here, the G4, first launched early 1961, but these I think are just great looking little cars. And that, just look at that, what a beautiful colour. I would very much like to own that. That is wonderful. What a great looking car. That's just a perfect little sports car as far as I'm concerned. That really is. That's a reproduction of the Ginetta G4 made by Dare UK after they obtained the production rights from Ginetta, made in 1998 from all new components with a 2-litre Ford Z-Tech. About 20 cars left in the UK, others went to overseas, Europe, Japan. Isn't that beautiful? What a stunning little car that is.
I will, man.
We're getting towards the dealer area. So we've got an X308 here up for 6,995. An AC Ace with a Bristol engine. So that car would go on to be the basis of the AC Cobra. XK150 drophead. Mercedes-Benz Pagoda roof, the SL. Historic Lotuses, more of here. Notes the Ford pickup, the E83W pickup, the wide section, 16-inch wheels, fitted to these early Lotuses. Right.
Yeah.
More Lotuses over there. I can see a Europa, Cobra replicas, etc. Right. XK120, quite an early one, alley-bodied, 1950. Alley-bodied cars had the separate side lights on top of the front wings. Later 120s, it was integral, and they had steel coachwork. Because originally William Lyons never imagined they'd end up producing so many, but the demand was such that they had to switch from aluminium coachwork to steel bodywork just to keep up with demand for that rakish two-seater introduced in 1948. With the straight 6 XK engine. Right. I spy Series 1 XJ. It's quite an early one with the straight pipes sticking out the back and the rear reflectors set into the reverse lights as opposed to being below the main lamp cluster, which most Series 1s have. So this is quite an early short wheelbase 4.2. Could even be a manual box. Should have the chrome rimmed gauges. It's an auto this, but it has got the chrome rimmed dials. Got an Alvis here, the drophead coupe. Tasty. Right. Let's see what else we've got. Which of the Alvises is this? Is it a TD or it's a TE or a TF with the stacked headlights? Looks very similar to a Facel Vega. TE21 1965, right. There's that glorious Series 1 XJ6 4.2. Happy memories of owning one or two of those some years ago now. Right, now where is the auction area? Now, there's a lot of dealers around here, so I won't spend too long here because I'd rather feature the owners clubs if I can. Certainly some very tasty metal dotted around here. Right, I think we will take a left-hand turn and head off in this general direction, past a stunning assortment of replica Cobras. Wow. That'd certainly clear the wax out of your ears, wouldn't it? Right. Motorcycles various here on the triumphmeriden.org stand, the Triumph Owners Club. Quite a few early bikes here as well. The BSA Bantam Club. Started out as 125cc bikes, later 175. Nice. And classic scooters just across the way. Quite an assortment of newish scooters, oldish scooters, and very old scooters. Take your pick. Royal Enfield, including this stunner over here. Wow, isn't that wonderful? So original little drip underneath as well. It's a lot of lovely fishtail exhaust. Do like that. Royal Enfield. Of course, Royal Enfield originally started out producing armaments, guns, that kind of thing, before switching to motorcycle production. We've got a couple of lovely early flat tankers here. Flat tank, so called because of the shape of the fuel tank here. What a cracker. Now there is a huge classic car auction taking place at the motor show, and some of the cars may just look a little bit familiar because I have it on good authority that there are other YouTube channels around which talk about classic cars. I know, amazing, isn't it? And this one belongs to Harry Metcalf of Harry's Garage fame. This is his Espada. He has decided to sell off a number of his vehicles, and included amongst them is this pretty incredible V12 Lambo. Super low, super wide. This one is featured in quite a few of his videos. This roof was retrofitted, I believe, to recreate something that was done to an Espada back in period, giving it this incredible sunshine roof. Quite the motor car. But the car I really wanted to have a look at coming out of Harry's Garage is this, his XJ Coupe. This is quite a famous car, the XJ 5.3C. He had a huge amount of work done to this. Lots of car alarms going off in the background, which is really helpful. So I'll just pause this while they stop. Right, so the alarms have stopped now. So yes, where was I? Yeah, he had a huge amount of work done to this XJ. It's a manual box in it, and it sounds phenomenal. Not too much in the way of silencing, and the V12 engine in the front. Repainted in this one-off colour scheme. Body coloured roof, because usually these had vinyl roofs fitted to them back when the coupes were made back in the 1970s, based on the short wheelbase Series 2 XJ platform. These were only ever sold based on the Series 2. There was never a Series 1 coupe, but it's certainly quite an eye-catching car in this amazing shade of metallic green. And if you've seen any of the Harry's Garage videos, you'll know just what an epic sounding car this is. Now, what's the estimate? 60 to 80. I won't be surprised if you spent more than that on it. Yeah. One of the ultimate V12 Jaguar coupes in existence. Will it do 60 to 80? We shall see. There's no denying it is a stunning looking, stunning sounding car. And that V12 engine coupled to a manual box, way more exciting than your regular V12 coupes that were produced. And they weren't produced in all that greater numbers either. Certainly a really, really eye-catching colour. Let's just go around the other side and have a look. Yeah. Series 2, the XJ. There was also the 4.2C was offered with a straight 6 in it, but this has got the all-alloy V12. Let's see if I can get around the other side of it. Just have a quick look round here. All sorts of cars entered in the auction, but as this and the Espada are so well known, I wanted to have a closer look at this one before it gets sold on. I'm not sure when the auction's taking place. It could be today, it could be tomorrow. But yeah, manual box, 5-speed manual, small sporty steering wheel, and it does sound pretty special. I'm really surprised he's selling this one, to be honest, because it is a real belter, and he had so much work done on this. The body, he bought the coupe, but the body was pretty shot on it when they started digging at it. So much of this, especially the rear corners, had to be replaced. Right, there's the Espada over there. Right, let's keep going.
70
Samurai Spec 240Z, Shropshire registered. That is nice. Right, this Lancia is, well, that's one eye-catching car. Oh, it's an Alfa, isn't it? Silly me. Alfa Romeo 2600 Spider, 70 to 80, so similar estimate to the Resto modded XJ Coupe. Which would you go for? Roughly similar kind of money, 60, 70, 80-ish estimates. Which would you go for? The XJ or this Alfa Romeo 2.6 Sprint? Not sure. This is one swish, stylish motor car. Right, let's carry on. One final look at the Lambo, that amazing moonroof. And we will carry on our merry way to see what else we can spot here today. Kind of losing my bearings a little bit. I'm not quite sure where I've been and where I haven't been now. Lots of the cars here are the typical sort of cars you see entered into a classic car auction, Escorts, TRs. We've seen quite a few of those in previous videos. We've got another Lancia Aurelia, this one done with long distance rallying in mind. Alpha here, very nice too. GTV, Mark 1 Mini, Jaguar Mark 1, do like that. Morgan, 911 Targa, bit of everything. Can't see much in the way of pre-war cars, but maybe this particular auction is geared more towards later classics, modern classics, resto mods, that kind of thing. But if I see anything pre-war, I will go and have a good close look at it. Yeah, I do like these Mark 1 saloons. Is this a 2 or a 3? 2.4 litre, this particular car. There's also the 3.4 as well. 3.8 wasn't offered in the Mark 1 body shell, that would come later in the Mark 2. Talking of Mark 2s, got a 2.4 litre version here. Right, I think trying to find my way out of here. Oh, actually, hang on a minute. I see another Mark 1. Oof, look at that. Like a sort of grey, greeny sort of colour with matching painted wires. Slightly narrower rear track on these compared to the Mark II. Different windows, much thicker window surrounds as well on the Mark 1s. Different dash too, and I really like these. Given the choice, I would probably go for a Mark 1. So I just think that little bit cooler and a little bit rarer. It's a cracker, right. Nice little Skoda just over here. ND, is that a Manchester registration? The rear engine Skoda. 4-door car like that. I see some pre-war cars over here, so that's good news. So we'll just amble in this general direction and take in the scenery. So what do we have here? Very white Ford Model T. It's very, very white indeed. So what year is this? 1926. Right-hand drive, so it's a fairly late production Ford Model T. Open Tourer, 2.9 litre 4-cylinder side valve. And it's right-hand drive. I wonder if this is one of the Manchester-built, the Trafford Park cars. It could well be. And what do we have alongside? Is it a Citroen? It's a Citroen, yes. Look at that. Lovely shape of, curvy shape of the radiator on these. Must be one of the rarest cars here, I would have thought. That's really is nice. 4-door saloon, oodles of space in the back. What a cracking car. And also left-hand drive. Right. Bit of fettling going on with this Austin 7 Special. All sorts here. And over here we have the pride of ownership area. Lancaster Insurance pride of ownership, and this is the Morris Minor Million. So when they got to 1 million cars built, they did a limited series of these lilac coloured Morris 1000s, but they are badged up as a million rather than the 1000. There we go. The minor million. Right. And we have an immaculate little Austin A35 alongside bright white MGB GT. It's an immaculate car. This is dragged out of a front garden. Clearly considerable restoration went into this great little car here. That is very bonny indeed. Right, let's carry on. Golf GTI Mark 1 and the immaculate little Metro just over here from the late 1980s and 1989 Austin Metro City. This is the final haul. Got a little Cooper 500 race car here. John Cooper Garages. And his name is the same Cooper that now appears on so many of the BMW era Minis as a nod back to the original souped up Mini Coopers of the 1960s. Ooh, look at this Bugatti. What's that, type 35? It's a 37, right. Type 37 Grand Prix of 1926. Beautiful Marshall lamps on the front. Everywhere you look, just wonderful detailing, wonderful engineering. This car on the Brooklands Museum stand here today. Did do a video just a few years ago of the wonderful Brooklands Museum. If you haven't seen that yet, please check that one out because it was a real treat. And the Napier Railton was running on the day that we turned up. Second Ferrari Daytona of the day. I don't think I've ever seen one in that particular colour before. Right. Let's keep it going. How are we doing on the batteries? Still 2 out of 3 bars, I think. I like that Porsche race team support van alongside this glistening Beetle. Look at that. Wowzers. Now the Tempo Matador. What a bonkers looking little thing that is. Isn't that just incredible? What a beautiful little van in the livery of the Porsche race team. I don't think vans get much more charismatic than that. There's an incredible recreation of something called Red Pig, or Rot Sow, I think it was called. This is based on an actual car that raced in the 1970s. We saw this one at Bicester, I think maybe in 2024. We actually passed it on the M40 as we were heading down there. And it certainly was an incredible sight seeing this one heading down the motorway. Here on the Mercedes-Benz Club stand. Across the way, well, we are at Shelsley Walsh, home of the Midland Automobile Club. And here we have GN Spider 2, one of many, many so-called Chelsea specials that were built from the 1920s onwards, really, designed with hill climbing in mind. Pretty bonkers engine configurations in lots of these. Many of them were aero engined, lots of engine, a seat, not much else really. It's pretty crazy looking thing. HRG chassis narrowed, a unique 2 litre 90-degree overhead cam twin engine, 2.4 litres. So there's the history of this car. It was built by Basil Davenport. There was also Spider 1 as well. This is Spider 2, slightly larger car. These Chelsea specials are just phenomenal. The sound, the smell, the spectacle of these things being driven at 10 tenths at hill climbs and sprints. This one with the twin wheel setup to get a bit of extra traction, doubling up your rear grip with a special set of twinned wheels at the back. What a treat to see that here today, and its modern day counterpart, I guess. Hill climbing still very much alive down at Shelsley Walsh. Also on the Merc stand, we've got another Fintail. This is quite a late one, about 1971 or so registration. Left-hand drive. Modern Porsches over there. S-Class, no, it's a 123 E-Class Merc. It's a fairly low, one of the lower spec cars with the twin circular lamps. So which model is this? This is the 250 version of the W123 straight 6 petrol. Only 4% of all W123s were 250s, so that makes this one pretty unusual. Rightio, let's keep going. The Jensen Owners Club over here. We've got a Jensen SV8 in a lovely shade of blue. So, yep, SV8s, they didn't make many of those. Probably fewer than 100, I would have thought. Yeah. Nice to see. Got the Jensen GT alongside, so it's like a Jensen Healey, but the shooting brake or the estate version of the Jensen Healey with its Lotus engine. And this is the original Jensen Interceptor, I think. Is it? Yes. 1953 Jensen Interceptor, the early Interceptor, as they're now referred to. So think Interceptor, and it's more often than not the 60s and 70s super swoopy GTs, but this is where the Interceptor name made its debut. Twin tanks as well. Another one over there. Pretty rare sight this now. Look at that stunning leather interior bench seat. Proper gentleman's express, as it would have been described back in the olden days, in the early 1950s. Plenty of plumbing going on in there. Wow. Pretty distinctive looking car, has to be said. I remember a few years ago there was one of these. It was either here at the Classic Car Show or the Restoration Show, and it was looking in very much barn find spec. Hopefully it went on to be restored. Right, another Jensen Healey here. Right, down to 1 bar battery life. Alvis. Now we're going to see some lovely looking cars on here. This is the TC21-100, the Grey Lady. So this was the pepped up version of the TC21 with the wire wheels as standard fitment and the intakes on top of the bonnet, i.e. these little fellas just on the top of the bonnet there. Is it for sale, is it? No, I couldn't run to that, I don't think.
Well, the only one's 18 grand for it.
18?
Sounds right money for that. What's a car for 18?
It's a nice car, isn't it? up for sale. And there we go, yeah, it's for sale, 18k. Very nice indeed, very swish. These are the ones I really covet, especially these Graber bodied cars. Cool. If you've seen the Bista video that I did just a few weeks ago, there was a whole gathering, a gaggle of Graber bodied Alvises there. This was probably one of them. What? That is just peak car. That, wow. There's not one duff line on that anywhere. I think every one of the Graber body cars was slightly different to make them each unique. And wow, slightly different grills, all that kind of thing. Very different to the standard Alvises, the TC and the TD21s, TEs, etc. If I could drive home one car today, being slightly realistic, this will certainly be on the short list. Just wonderful details. I like the Swiss plates on it as well. But yeah, look at those. Little peaks on the top of the wings there. Alongside we've got I think this is a standard Alvis bodied car, TE or a TF. Both had the stacked headlamps. The TD21 was this shape but only had a single headlamp per side. And these are great looking cars. This is a TE21 from 1964. So the Graber bodied cars went on to be basically the forerunners of these factory built TDs, TEs and TFs. Again, stunning looking car. Right, let's keep her going. Oh, what's this, speed 20 or speed 25? Let's cheat and have a look at the information sheets just over the way here. Which one is it? It's a speed 25, 1939, four-seater drop head coupe. I'll have to stand back to fit all that into frame because that is one magnificent motor car. Whoa, look at the quality of the fittings. It's just in another league to most cars ever, really. I do find myself drawn repeatedly to this lovely Graber bodied car, but there's no getting away from the fact that this also is a stunning car. And now we are at the Daimler and Manchester Owners Club stand, and this is a Lanchester LD10, and not just any LD10, this is a drop head coupe, Abbott bodied convertible from 1947, from an era when coach building was still very much the thing in the years following the Second World War. Pre-select the box. It's good to see a Lanchester here. We saw the earlier Lanchester just a little while ago in one of the other halls. You don't stumble across these open top LDT and 10s all that often. Quite a handsome looking car, I think. And this is 1904. Wowzers, Lanchester 20 horsepower Tourer, brought in from the Jaguar Daimler Heritage Trust at Gaydon. Proper brass era car. And this, a Lanchester LE14 Road Rider Deluxe. Like I say, by this point in time, Lanchester was part of Daimler. This one, it's Road Rider in beautiful condition, lots of memorabilia. Ooh, lots of memorabilia on the back seat, period sales, brochures, handbooks, all those kinds of things. And I do have a bit of a soft spot for old books, etc. Yeah, good looking car this. I love the split rear window. It's a very sleek looking saloon. I do like that. Right, let's go around this way. There's a bit more space this way. And we have the cars of Blackpool, yes, TVR are here. Lots and lots.
Sad, isn't it?
Mainly,
Yeah, well,
mostly
we get 2 separate
laid to
lines.
TVRs. So we'll keep going.
Pale white green. Yeah, the yellow one, those.
Alongside it is the Lotus Drivers Club. And more Marcos. Oof, the Marcos Owners Club, tucked away in this corner of the hall. Staying with slightly obscure British motor manufacturers, we have the Bristols. An assortment of Bristols on display here. This is the Bristol 405. There's also the 404, which look kind of similar, but there's the saloon version. Bristol 400 drop head. It's a swish looking motor car. And this is a 406. I well remember many years ago, as I've said before, stumbling across a fixed head Bristol 406 in a barn covered in pigeon droppings. I often wonder what happened to it. The last of the straight 6 powered Bristols before the 7 came along, 407 came along with the V8 under the bonnet. Yeah, nice to see this one here today. This is an open top car. The one that I saw was a fixed head coupe. This one dates to 1961. Yeah, one of the last 6-cylinder cars registered May 1961. The 6-pot engines, they were a bit prone to melting pistons if I remember right. And I think that is what led to the barn find Bristol that I found years and years ago being laid up. And it had been there, it must have been there 20 years, 30 years, something like that. This is the earlier 400. And well, what a swanky interior we have here. All leather and wood. Resembling something like out of an aircraft. Of course, Bristol very much involved in the aviation industry. Down at Filton, home to Concorde, of course, perhaps their most famous offering. Right, let's carry on. See what we've got. We've got Honda NSXs over the way there, to my left. MX-5s over there. Morgans. I know 1 or 2 viewers here on the channel like their Morgans. So let's have a quick shufty. This one's quite unusual because this is an interim car built between the original Flatrads and the later looking cars. So there's only a handful, well I say fewer than 20 I think. 15 months it was produced. Right. So yeah, so this is like the interim front between the original Flatrad and the later looking cars. I saw this one, I think it was at Stoneleigh, somewhere like that. Right. Here is a Flatrad, so this is the Flatrad Morgan with a much flatter radiator compared to the interim car, the blue car just alongside over there. Right, now, Di Tommaso. Right, so I've got a red battery light on, folks, so I'm going to have to start winding this one up and being very, very particular, but I want to have a look at this lofty pre-war saloon just over the way here. What do we have here? Armstrong Sidleys. Oof. Let's see what we can see around about here. The Armstrong Sidley Owners Club. Ooh. And a Hawker Hunter with Armstrong Sidley Sapphire engines. Look at this beauty over here. Like I say, check out the video that I did recently of a Packard and a Armstrong Sidley alongside each other. This one is 1933. The car I went to look at was 1935, but look at this stunning, stunning car over here. Wowzers. What an incredible looking car. Such a stylish 4-seater. What is it? Special 6 from 1934. Cool. That's a handsome son of a gun. Gordon Keeble stand here. And Allards over the way opposite. Spot more Bristol action over here, including this incredible sports racer from the 1950s. Look at this, very much built with aerodynamics in mind, wind cheating design for racing at Le Mans, etc. Maybe some of you remember having the dinky toy version of this incredibly streamlined looking car. There's one of those in the cabinet just behind where I'm sat editing this video at the moment. So I think this is probably the first time I've actually seen one of these in the metal. Pretty wacky, wild looking car. It's incredible Bristol, the Bristol 450, 2.5 litre powered car. Wow, what an amazing thing. Aston Martin. DB24 here, finished in its aluminium coachwork, no paint on this one. No shortage of classic and vintage Jaguars. This a 1937 SS 2.5 litre saloon. Wow. Yes. Sir William Lyons responsible for this incredibly stylish car. What do we have over here? Is this a Railton? It's the Bruff Superior. Right. Using the same 4.2 litre Hudson engine as Noel Macklin's Railton. Right. So this was the Bruff Superior car, not the motorcycle. This is the car, the Bruff Superior car. What a wild looking car it is. Certainly not for the shy and retiring, definitely. And alongside it, another Railton. This one, a mighty 8-cylinder saloon from 1946. Why? What a car. There's the big old flathead, the old side valve, straight 8 engine.
The only thing that's standing out on the TV.
I think that's the Hudson engine, isn't it? That really is quite the car. Oodles of presence. It's very original in there as well. The original seating, dash, steering wheel. Wow. Jaguar Drivers Club just over the back there. I can see an assortment of Jaguars. Fraser Nash, I think this particular, oh, it's Riley over here, aren't we? This is Riley. Well, that's an Austin 7. What do we have here? The Rapier. So Rapier is basically Lagonda. Rapier was a sort of slightly more affordable Lagonda. All the timing gear, and this great little Riley here. This is the VSCC stand. This car I think we've seen at Bicester. I'm pretty sure we've seen this one down there. Yeah, JDC over the way. We've got a race prepared Mark 1. Is this Grant Williams' car? Could be. By one. Oh, nice. By one. Roy Salvadori. So this is an original race car, yeah. So some fairly illustrious drivers. There you go, Grant Williams. I've seen him many times at Goodwood Racing. Roy Salvadori. Lots of names here from the history of motor racing. Jochen Mass and Derek Bell in more recent times, probably at the Goodwood Revival. Usually to be seen sideways, this particular grey Mark 1. So Mark 2 alongside from the same stable. Someone's made this one into a convertible. I think this one was for sale here a year or two back. A Jaguar Mark II convertible, no less. Right, I'm down to 20% on the battery. Another glorious Mark I. Oh, what a beautiful looking car that is. Of course, they weren't called Mark Is when these were on sale. They were either the 2.4 saloon or the 3.4 saloon. And then when the Mark II came along, these tended to be retrospectively called the Mark Is. And alongside that, we have the Jaguar D-Type, an original Jaguar D-Type, one of the long nose cars. So called because the nose is somewhat longer than the other version. The short nose and the long noses also had this fin for stability for going down the Mulsanne Straight. Slightly angled, it's not totally vertical, it's not entirely vertical. I think it's just a couple of degrees over to the side, if memory serves, but it's certainly a magnificent car. One of the original D-Type sports racers built in the 1950s. These replaced the C-Type or the XK120C, and were very, very successful. What a stunning, stunning car that is. But at the slightly more achievable end of the market, I could definitely see myself with one of these one day if I managed to get all my ducks in a line. I could definitely see us with a Mark I one day gracing the garage at OCC HQ. We'll just have to see this 3.4 litre car. Wow, what a thing. Complete with proper driving gloves as well. Hope you can just see those in there. Something tells me this Austin 7 has been trialling recently. Harley put together a neat little video just a few weeks back of the VSCC Welsh trial. That looked like a lot of fun by all accounts. I didn't get to that one, but he went with Mrs. OCC and they had a fine time watching all sorts of vintage cars competing in muddy fields in mid-Wales, in and around the Prestine kind of area. Tyrrell's Classic Workshop here too. Again, pops up on YouTube from time to time. And glistening in front of me, the Ferrari F40. Right, but I am drawn over to this side of the walkway because this is the home of the Bugatti Owners Club, Prescott Speed Hill Climb, which has been the home of the Bugatti Owners Club for many, many a decade. And we've got a truly mouth-watering assortment of vintage Bugattis on display here today. I'm down to 16% on my last battery. What a spectacular assortment. This is a Type 57. Very swish, very elegant cars indeed. This one, Type 44, 1928, bodied faux cabriolet by Labordette. There we go. Bit of info there, just pause the video if you want to read about this beautiful looking late vintage Bugatti. Again, super stylish Marshall lamps. An astonishing display of cars, these beautiful cast aluminium wheels, two of on the back of here. Let's have a quick peek under the bonnet if we can just get around here. Right, look at that.
She's amazing.
Type 46S, sold in 1932. here, Type 50. Would you look at the engine in that? Whew. And the steering box, I mean that's just a work of art in its own right. Beautifully machined. And here's one we can file under oddball. There's this amazing Rambler Rebel. 1 minute we're looking at vintage Bugattis. Next, oddball American cars. Left-hand drive, presumably imported at some point. It's got the probably the so-called Continental kit on the back, where the back bumper is extended backwards, enabling the spare wheel to sit out here on the back, freeing up space presumably in the boot or the trunk area. Yeah, typically called Continental kits. The Rambler Rebel. First glance you think it's got those reverse rake back windows like a Ford Anglia, but no, it does wrap all the way around. Tinted glass. Looks like it's been in France at some point in time. What a bonkers looking car. Right, my battery is officially running on fumes now. Unfortunately, I've got just a few percent left to enable me to feature this glorious old coach. The old Bedford OB, the duple-bodied Bedford. One of my favourite coaches of all. These are just such wonderful things. This from a collection, I think in Staffordshire somewhere. I've certainly seen this little J-Type before, and indeed the miniature J-Type down there, and I've probably come across this duple-bodied Bedford before, but what a stunning old coach. I just think these are glorious little things. Just imagine going to school every day on something like this, perhaps. The grinding of the gears, the whine of the gearbox, probably slightly hot, oily smell, no doubt. Great interior, probably can't see in there too well, but just a lovely looking thing. The famous duple coachwork badge on the side of the bonnet there. Alfa Romeo Montreal here. Various much later Alfas alongside, so we'll head across here to see the Maserati Club, in particular this bright red Maserati Bora. Certainly a very eye-catching machine. Which model is this? The name escapes me.
Exactly. But as soon as I arrived. Yeah, I mean, you're right. You can do 60 miles.
Ooh, what do I see over here? XM603, the Woodford Vulcan. Presumably on a photo shoot with the Mercedes-Benz Club in attendance, but yeah, that's over at Woodford. 289 register here. Reproductions of the classic AC Cobra. First cars were 289 cubic inch, later ones were 427. We've got the Lamborghini Club here, Lamborghini Countach. Hope you've all watched Harley's video where he got to ride and have a look around a glorious Lamborghini Miura recently. Keep an eye on this channel for more wonderful cars of a similar vein, hopefully to appear on there in the coming months. Yeah. Quite a gaggle of Lamborghini Countachs here. This is quite an early one. Right folks, well there we go. That was the NEC Classic Motor Show 2025. I'm down to the last 2% of the final batteries, so I've packed in as much as I possibly could into this video, and hopefully I featured your favourite cars in this particular upload. Like I said before, if I missed your favourites out, well, I apologise in advance for that, but this was one huge show, and to be honest, there are many areas that I didn't even get to. Ideally, I would come back tomorrow, but I can't do that because I am elsewhere. So thank you so much for watching this particular video anyway. It's been a real treat to have a mooch around the NEC Classic Motor Show for 2025. Some real beauties hidden away. How about that Volvo P1900, for example? What a rarity that was. So that was a real treat. I've just been watching some of the other YouTubers talking over on the main stage there. So that was always interesting. You always get a few little tips from listening to other people who do this kind of thing. So big thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, all that kind of thing. There'll be loads more videos along very soon.